also always got Yule Scepters and things of the like to be able to play around with if you really are desperate to get rid of these overpower stacks. So that's something we'll have to wait and see about whether or not that's what Quantum want to go down as their route of attack, or whether or not they're just going to play it very straightforward, do the simple things right, and hopefully try and get the dub for themselves.
We are seeing the Icebreaker facet coming through as well from Jakiro. So previously we saw the Twin Terror being picked up, just as, you know, a little bit more of that lane harass. But I think any time that you can just get that little bit of extra control, it's going to be a good thing, right? Because they don't exactly have, outside of a tiny Blink Avatos, the follow-up isn't necessarily there until Shadow Shaman gets the Blink Dag, which might be a little bit of time depending on how this top lane goes.
Yeah, and especially against a hero like Queen of Pain as well. Like, just having that little bit of extra lockdown can sometimes mean her blinking away and her dying. So, do you like to see that from the boys? So, let's see how this first blood is going to go. Mary's going to walk up, Yayo. We'll see if he can catch anybody, Yayo or Palantimos.
Have you seen Anchorad's just got his backwards name now?
Sometimes that really irks me with players is how they change their names all the time. But
Darkney is not too bad.
Ancrad is not bad. The backwards versions, whatever. Like,
yeah,
it's when they completely change them, and you're like, who's who? I remember it was a big thing in China for a long time, and now it feels like a lot of Eastern European players do it quite a lot.
And Excess Vampire was close with 1 Sentry Ward to being able to deward 2 Observer Wards. It's like very close to being on the edge of both, but won't be able to claim it just for now. Still, I don't expect much to change, even though he hasn't got the Twin Terror facet. He's still just going to be spamming out this Liquid Fire as much as possible against Cobus 9.
Yeah, and that's the problem that Axe has early on. A lot of that early harass can be quite detrimental. So, off to a relatively good start for a lot of these different players here.
The other thing that I'm sort of looking at is that a lot of the time when you're looking to play with a Nature's Prophet, remember this was Nemiga's first pick, it's when you're, you know, getting a stun into a follow-up from a TP through. Don't really have any stuns across the board for them, right? Like, Cobus 9 isn't going to be wanting to level up Berserker's Call for quite a little bit, you know? Like, until there's a bunch of stacks being built up for him, but maybe he's going to be forced to go into it at, like, level 4, let's say, just to give them some of that kill potential that the Nature's Prophet does provide.
We'll see if he is forced to do that, or whether or not, you know, maybe you can be a greedy little goblin and get away with it. We'd like to see some early levels of the Berserker's Call.
Just one.
Thank you
just
so much
fine.
for Mr. Monodrama. Here's the free heal and the Chewy New Tangos. I was going to say Tamangos. I don't know why I was getting Tangos and Tobacco put together. But unfortunately for Monodrama, that is a big old tombstone in front of his face, and that will be first blood going the way of Yayo.
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 That's what he's saying. I mean, it's a lot of pressure that they're already putting onto this top lane, right? Ursa's doing an okay job with last hitting, but he's forced to do these weird things when really just sea creep, hit creep is what you want to be doing at this stage of the game.
Try and go behind the tower once again here in Abashka, but I think Emptiness is going to be the one that's going to get gone on here. He's going to go in with the foul play, and now Yayo is going to be able to get a second. Monodrama, though, very, very careful here. A lot of these damage is coming from the range creeps.
What's coming out to the Undying? He's already got the Soul Ring, like, less than 3 minutes in. So he's just going to be spamming. And all of that HP that goes away, that's just off the back of your decay after the fact. So he's going to be very happy with how things have started out. I mean, I know it's very early to look at the net worth, but let's have a look at the net worth for the Undying. He is a fair way ahead of everyone else. And yeah, Ursa sitting pretty down low in terms of who's going to be able to combat this. Emptiness, a little surprised that he doesn't have any tangos to be able to play around with, but maybe just looking to rely on Yayo and the pure right-click damage that they're able to have.
Yep. Emptiness goes for the mass Serpent Ward rather than, or the massive Serpent Ward, pardon me, instead of the chicken fingers. So, interested to see how that fast went. I believe he went it last night as well in their game against Aurora. I believe the British lads were exacerbating about how good the massive Serpent Ward is, and I believe I'm in very firmly in Camp T Governor, and I don't think it's good.
You don't think it's good? You're like, why not chicken fingers?
Yeah, it seems like such a...
It depends on the game, I think. Like, if you are actually needing that extra little bit of lockdown, if you are wanting to try and get these slow-ish trades off, then chicken fingers might be better. But against a Nature's Prophet, most of the time in these longer team fights, he's going to come out on top because of multiple sprouts or the regen coming through, bigger attack range. So it really just depends on Monodrama's positioning, in my opinion, to make the chicken fingers a little better. And for this game, don't think it's really all that amazing.
Alright, they're going to try and go again on the top side here. Yayo wants to try and hit the creep instead of hitting the Ursa. So he will just force him to leap away. That's Tombstone down for another 70 seconds.
I wonder if they actually like clicked on some of the creeps that he was hitting as well to see that he had put the second point into the Fury swipes, and knowing that he doesn't have overpower, they were happy to drop the Tombstone because they knew he wasn't going to be able to quickly burst through it. Not really that you get overpowered that often this early into the game, but still, it's a possibility.
Yeah, especially needing the Earth Shock as well to be able to create a bit more of that extra distance. So I feel like my eyes are just glued to top, just because that feels like where a lot of the pressure is going. There's also a lot of stuff that's been happening in the bottom side with Covers 9 and Lucas kind of dancing around each other. But, you know, middle lane is a Queen of Pain lane, so it's just like, okay. Like, it's Shadow Strikes, and then you just gotta try and CS when she doesn't have Shadow Strike on you.
Mary's moving up top as well, trying to make it a 3v2 sort of situation, but I think Lucas needs to be a little careful here. Doesn't really have a big wave to be able to play around with, and it's the siege creep wave as well, so can't afford to be down here on his own, otherwise he's under threat of just being dived.
They are walking forward here. Mary's coming from the back as well, so Emptiness will go in towards that foul play. They miss out on the dual breath though, so Yayo is going to find it quite hard to get away from this Ursa because they don't have that extra slow coming in from the dual breath. And now Monodrama's just sitting in the back, just getting the clicks going, but Bashko eventually will get chased down by the zombie man. So it looks like dual breath was not needed.
Ruins up towards the top side. Young G is going to be able to claim it. I mean, that's the other thing as well that we haven't yet talked about. Young G, even in the games that Nemiga have lost, he's always looked incredibly impressive. So
yep.
I'm expecting to see another great performance come out from him. He's already about half a level ahead of Ankrad at this point in time, so has the Sonic Wave available, but even with Excess Vampire here, I'm not sure if they're going to be able to... Could be a great TP though.
Here. They really want to try and kill this Ursa, but Yayo, he has just kind of gone in and gone out, and now he gets feared away. They will drop the Sonic Wave as well from Young G with this amplified damage, and just not on the same page there. You could definitely see that Yayo didn't want to have a bar of that because he didn't have the Tombstone, and then Emptiness was definitely pushing the envelope there to try and get the kill onto Bashka, who still lives. Gets some big rotations though. Basically everybody from the Mega is towards the top side except for Covers 9.
No yoinking of Wisdom Runes going on by the Nature's Prophet. Mary is there in position to be able to secure that 7-minute one, and that's exactly what is being pinged out, but it's actually Lucas ending up taking it away from the Nature's Prophet. So there goes the ping, and there goes the thank you very much. And is he going to be okay on Monodrama? Probably not.
He is just not enough to get away. X there from Emptiness. Catches that one. Excess Vampire tried his best. Was that with an illusion?
Which one?
The Lucas being able to get the wisdom.
No, he was just there. He just TP'd back.
Oh, he TP'd back. Okay. Because I like as soon as I saw it, and then I saw that he was bottom, and I was like, "What's going on?" It's like, is this guy in two different places at once? Is that a new Sven?
Many skills. Sven doesn't need to get any stronger than he is right now. Let's be real.
What do you mean? You don't want to fight two Svens?
No, one Sven's enough. Very keeping that bottom regen rune. Nicely done. I was a little surprised that they made this, they pulled the hard camp on the top side considering how low that tower is, but I think Yayo should be able to get it anyway. So it's not too big of a deal, but when you've got a level 5 Jakiro up there, which is one liquid fire probably would have been enough to be able to take it out, but like I said, not needed. Wanting to play more around that mid lane, realizing that again, Young G is the one that's having a great start to the game for Nemiga.
Yeah,
really just 9 isn't too bad of a one either.
Yeah, I was going to say, really just kind of putting a lot of your eggs in the baskets of the cores who are having the good time. So we're slowly building towards this blade mail. It's gone for much more of an early orientated build with the double bracer and the phase boots. So definitely not going to be 11-minute blade mail blink, but could start getting this acceleration going, especially with the amount of stacks that XX Vampire is starting to build up now for the axe. Look at them across the other side of the map as well.
Could be a 10-minute blade mail off the back of that, but I doubt the follow-up is going to be there necessarily. That's fine. Again, like the big issue for mine for Nemiga's draft was make sure that Kovis 9 doesn't have slow farm. And he doesn't. He doesn't have slow farm at all. It's just has the top lane gone well enough for Quantum that it's going to kind of balance that out. Because you know Undying is an amazingly strong hero in these early stages of the game, and he's about 10 seconds away from being able to pick up a halberd before the 10-minute mark. So this is looking real good for them.
Especially with a lot of their damage coming from those clicks, you know, either on the Ursa. Monodrama has some half decent right clicks, and even Young G as well. So we've got a lot of magic damage, but they also do have a decent amount of the clicking damage. So you have to be very, very careful about that when you go into these next couple of fights. Just makes that Undying so hard to kill. And even if he has Ceaseless Dirge available too, like, you kill him, you expend quite a lot to have to kill him. If you're in the wrong spot, these TPs can come in and basically like having an Aegis.
So really, to me, it just feels like they're waiting for their level 6 on Quantum. You know, they're playing around potentially these siege creeps now as we see a double rotation. No macro pyre just yet, about 30 experience short from being able to pick that one up. Maybe if they're able to get this backstab working onto Kovis 9 before he picks up the blade mail, that could be huge. You know, delaying a lot of the timings that he has, making him lose a bunch of unreliable gold. Looks like the Spidey senses are tingling and he's backing off just in time. So good map awareness coming through from him there. Does let them place down a Observer Ward though, aptly named Sentry Ward, the old snaking trick. And they know that there's a lot of big stacks here, but okay. I was about to say, you've got to be careful about revealing yourself underneath that Watcher.
Oh, they're walking towards now. They've been able to catch out XX Vampire. The toss away, though, does get them outside of the ice path, but with Yayo here as well, it's very, very spooky prospect for Young G to be hovering around, so they're just going to leave it be, and they're going to also head mid-tier 1 tower as well here at 12 minutes.
Yep.
Keep your catapult alive.
Emptiness is doing a good job. He's tanking the tower hits. Perfectly natural for him to be wanting to do. And yeah, especially when you're considering doing exactly what they just did in yoinking away the vast majority of these. They drop macro pyre on the Ancients to be able to claim them. So that's a lot of gold that Axe is now not going to have. I think Quantum are playing this early game perfectly.
Yeah, they're doing a really, really good job at just kind of crunching the map in the correct ways, making sure that they're taking a lot of this extra farming area away from these heroes, especially because you want to play pretty slow for a lot of these calls. Queen of Pain, yeah, she's okay with doing some rotations, but wants to try and get at least an item or two. Same with the Axe, and especially with the Ursa, with considering how horrible of a start that they had, and you know, looking at these massive stacks that are being built up for both these two teams, that if you start getting into the farming mode, it's going to be a very, very spicy prospect. All right, he's going in. Lucas just walks in and just obliterates. What was that, a 4 or 5 stack of Ancients?
4 stack, I think, and it gives him his level 12. Just looking at levels, it just compares Sven and Ursa levels right now. That's the big highlight that I want to be making right now. Not only is he nearly double his net worth, but you've got level 7 Ursa versus level 12, nearly 13 Sven. Like, this is what the difference is in having that inbuilt farming mechanism. It's why TAs can get so farmed so early, just because they're able to get take all these stacks for free and flash farm so effectively, while being good at taking towers, while being good at team fighting. I really feel like Sven is approaching the territory of first ban material.
It really feels like he's got quite a lot of the right bits in his toolkit to really be able to abuse the meta right now, especially with how good teams have gotten in stacking. I remember there were teams that never used to stack. Stacking, you know, never really felt like it was a big thing, and you know, obviously you look at a team like Team Liquid, who were stack gods, and now it feels like every team is just giga stackers.
The big boy is hitting.
The massive ward. I mean, would it have been a much more easy solo kill if it was the regular wards. I'm not going to judge, but I mean, is what it is, I guess.
It is what it is. Let him be. Let him live his life.
Yeah. Like,
also, what this... They continue to choke out the map, dude. They're doing such a good job of this. Look at the time that they're making this movement. Not only do they get a kill, not only do they take a tower, they're going to take another Wisdom Rune. Monodrama doesn't even have a scan available. Oh, no, they just used it, sorry. So now he's going to be TPing through and claiming it. So a little bit slow on Mary, unless he does the ice path up the hill. But doesn't look like he'll be able to do it in time. Still a death for Monodrama.
Yeah. Loses the life, at least takes the shrine, the wisdom shrine away. Doesn't get kind of the double whammy of not getting it, and you know, it just kind of exacerbates that experienced lead. But I think at this point, you're kind of hunting for scraps for anybody on the Nemiga right now.
I really want to see Lucas just get out of his side of the map now, right? You've taken all the stacks, you've got a siege creep wave coming up shortly, Ursa doesn't even have Battle Fury yet, let alone his next item, and Axe doesn't have Blink Dagger for another 700 gold, so there's really no reason for them to stay back on their side of the map anymore. You just need to continuously choke them out, take away the areas that they can farm, and try and get these key pickoffs on a few of the heroes that are having a decent game, like the Queen of Pain, like the Axe.
That's what he's doing. Across the river, he's found Young G. They're just going to go forward and look at the stuns that they have. Yeah, they don't really have a good way of initiating, but when your Sven is, what, 3,000 plus gold ahead of everybody, it's pretty easy for him to initiate. They're going to go forward once again onto Monodrama. And it's just another double kill here for the Sven. This is looking dire straits right now. This is, please don't watch. We're very vulnerable right now for Nemiga. They're struggling with this one.
And they've got a Blink Dagger coming out from Emptiness now as well, on top of everything else. So you've got other ways to be able to initiate onto these people as well. You might not even be able to pop the Blade Mail, you know, if you've got that Hex. It's that instant cast versus, you know, maybe you can stop yourself from getting hit by the Stormhammer, or at least return some of that damage. Not going to have the same sort of luck versus a Blink Shadow Shaman.
Yeah. Okay. They were at least posturing to try and gank the Undying here in the river, but very hard to kill. Considering he is what, 1,300 gold, 1,200 gold away from an Aghanim Scepter and Yayo. So the Dirge is going to steal a whole lot more of these stats. Ankrad's gone for Boots of Travel. I feel like in this scenario, I really like these Boots of Travel, whereas I kind of disliked them yesterday, just because they're so far ahead. And it just means that any time that you're seeing Covers 9 trying to cut these creep waves, trying to push these waves in, you know, same with Young G as well, you could be anywhere on the map.
Yayo. Breaks the smoke, drops the tombstone down. They do get a little bit of a nice ball onto the Shaman.
Going to do a lot of work, but with only 2 members from the side of Quantum here in the backside, they're seeing if they can try and continue this fight for as long as they possibly can. Look at the damage that's going there onto Covers 9. Yayo, though, he's the one that's going to lose his life early. Lucas wants to go in here with the God Strength as well. Doesn't get onto any more of these heroes. They've already taken down one with Covers 9 going down. But I thought there was going to be a much bigger response there from Quantum. Especially with how long that Yayo survived on the Undying. I thought that was definitely the kind of go button for them. Everyone was kind of in the area, and they just decided to not.
They were going for a kill on the Ursa at the time, and they were just trying to, like, get a 2-for-nothing trade, basically. But I think when you've got this level of control, and you've got this great Observer Ward, and, you know, what could they do to stop you from just taking tier 2 mid and top at this point? I think maybe they got a little bit greedy for it. They're going to try and get excess Vampire, and they should succeed. Although Monodrama's going to try
a lot of damage here. Yayo has to be careful, starting to burn just a little bit. Doesn't get any more of it. 8 HP, 1 HP dead. Yayo eventually cleans it up there.
Oh, Young G blinked in.
Ankrad's going to walk in. Young G has blinked in as well. Now Yayo wants to walk forward. They do get the shackles going out onto the Ursa. He's going to lose a lot of his life. Bashka walks back in, gets some overpower stacks on a Yayo, but that's all it's going to be. Young G is walking away on a sliver of HP. They'll walk forward and they'll catch out Monodrama once again here. Blink Avatos from Ankrad. brings her back into the clutches of his buddies, and it's a triple kill for the Dirge. That's Ags on the way, baby.
Without Sven, by the way. So, like, that's a lot more what I was expecting for them to be able to do, right? They've got great vision around this top side of the map. Just get the easy pickoffs. There's no way that Nemiga can contest into at least until Ursa's got Blink Dagger. And even then, like, who are you actually killing? Can you kill a Jakiro during, you know, a Blink in? I don't think so, because you're going to have a Blink Sven, a Blink Shadow Shaman, a Blink Tiny around just to be able to stop you. Like, until he's got BKB, there's nothing really that much that Bashka can do. He's still bottom of all of the cores in terms of net worth, and you just look at Emptiness just walking out here saying, we're not going to give up this Observer Ward. Didn't have enough mana to be able to drop the Mass Serpent as well as use the Shackles.
They are standing and fighting here as well. They've got a lot of cores that are coming out. Young G just gets donked on. And Yao eventually will be able to clean up on XX Vampire. They wanted to get rid of the ward. They do get rid of the ward. And unfortunately for them, it will get replenished. And another hero that's going to the fountain is going to be Monodrama. At what point do you just type the cheese, you know? Hope
we know we don't do that anymore in this region, you know? Like, we know that doesn't happen ever since he's spoiled. But, you know, it's approaching that sort of territory. I mean, the thing is, for Nemiga, they haven't had a good team fight yet, is the thing. And maybe that's just what they're waiting for. Like, let's have an actual fight on our terms, and if we lose it, we lose it. But I don't think it makes sense to tap out at this stage, because then that just kind of puts them in a stage of our draft was never good, if that makes sense. And I don't think that's a good mentality to be able to take into a game 2 of an elimination series.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I like the vibes answer there. Keep the vibes high. Or at least not low.
As much as possible, yeah.
Yeah. You know, don't self-sabotage. But I mean, looking at how fat Lucas is right now, he is a chubby boy. And
we don't fat shame here, right?
This is like the good fat, like the pH fat, you know?
Ah, I see.
Yeah. This is like the he fat, you know, like
he OB.
And it's just one of those games where like everybody's had these games, right? Well, I don't know about you, man, but I've definitely had games like this where you just, you know, giga chatting across the map, you're just feeling very strong in everything you do, and it feels like you can kind of almost not slip up. But they need to make sure that they don't, because obviously, you know, if they give away a Sven, if they give away a Tiny, it's a lot of net worth that can start going in the hands here of Nemiga. But they've done a really good job at just working across the map in a very clinical way for Quantum, and it's been very impressive to watch.
Yeah. I'm going to let that snarky little comment slide because you have been a trooper with the hours.
I just wanted to
this one time.
little droplet in there, you know. I cop a lot. It's time to give back.
You do. That's why I'm like, all right, he deserves it. Will we see the big snaky boy? Drop him down Emptiness. I mean, you probably don't need it, actually. Lucas, level 18, tons of farm. He's just going to be able to 3-hit this tower, essentially.
Yeah, he's getting close to a Chrysalis on top of his Harpoon that he's just picked up, and they just want to try and clear out the edges of these maps for some of the little Nemiga players.
They see you, Vampire.
They have just blinked, though. Ankred finds him out. Blink Avatar's dead. Unfortunately, that is
Actually,
worth
it's
it in a
dark
nutshell.
Oh,
Kovas
they understand that Kovas 9 is going to be there. Oh,
they blinked the wrong way. Oh, Ankred found him. He's sitting there. They're cancelling his cancelling his blink dagger. All right, it's just a massive ward.
Can't blade mail that.
God, this is so depressing to watch. It's so stupid, man. Look at it. Look at it. Why does it do 1,000 damage?
Why not?
What is that? It's so dumb. At least get a skin. Please, Emptiness. You're making me feel empty looking at the no-skin Serpent Ward.
It's the way to play. And they're just able to come on right on back. Oh, left in the age. It's still a minute and a half. Like, they've just completely dominated this game from start to finish. And, well, they're not happy enough just to be able to go for the easy win. They want to get the cleanups as well onto the Muerta. Akrad says, thank you very much. I'll yoink a little bit of extra farm for myself. 6-0 and 9 on this Tiny. And, like, yes, he's going a little bit more of that utility-ish style on the Tiny, but the Your Scepter makes sense this game. You're against an Ursa. Not that Ursa's really had any teamfight involvements just yet, and he's still 600 gold away from that BKB, so he's opted to go away from the Blink Dagger, just saying, look, we need to take some kind of fight, but you're probably going to have lost your base by the time you've picked up this far.
Yeah, I mean, at this point it feels like it's a little bit of a team meeting time for Nemiga. They're just taking this time to
just hit the tower, Bashka. Just hit the tower. Oh no, not with the glyph. But just hit the tower.
You can
it's
do
a free farm.
They found Young G in the top side of the map. Yule's up into the air. Do they have another bit of lockdown? No, but Emptiness found where he's going to go. Oh.
How is Ursa not dying? I didn't think even... maybe he didn't have God Strength on Lucas, so I thought Ursa was going to die on that bottom side of the map, but able to TP away after taking the tower, so first tower claimed. Let's go. Small miracles. Right, and now they get the BKB, and now they smoke. This is it.
I was going to say, this is it. Double BKB on your cause. You picked up a Kaya and Sanj on your Queen of Pain. This is the... Let's see if we can kill Lucas.
Who do you even jump? Because I don't think you can jump Yayo. Like, he's too tanky. Two, now they don't know that Ceaseless Dirge has 30 seconds on cooldown, but you don't want to risk it. And he could just TP back into the outpost.
Yep.
So it's got to be the full backline. Like, Shakira's going to die, Shadow Shaman's going to die. One of them.
All right. Let's see. Trying to find them. They don't have a scan.
Back.
That's
not
the sad part.
Full backline, but it's too obvious that they're going for this play with both mid and top pushing in, and I mean that's what happens 25 minutes in when you've lost 2 lanes of racks.
Yeah, makes every move oh so obvious. Well, at least they're gonna know where they are now because they're knocking on your front door. Full big boy on the way here for Lucas.
He's in town. They gotta do something. They gotta somehow get onto the back line. Monodrama dropping the Curse of the Old Growth just for that little bit of extra vision, but where's the information? Where's the actual initiation?
They found the natures, so he's going to go here. He's going to fight. There is a blink on the sideline here from Young G. They're going to go in the back here for Corvus Knight. Goes directly in on top of the Ice Pass. So they take down the Jakiro. Looking now on Ankrad. They get the double dunk, so that's a nice little start here for Nemiga. They're looking to try and see if they can get Bashka into this fight. Lucas, Big Scary, and Golden. Let's leave him be for now. Nice little disengage here from Nemiga. They're doing a very, very good job of just carting out these heroes. Now we're trying to see what Bashka can do. Lucas, though, he's the one that's getting very low. This God Strength is about to wear out in about another 10 seconds. Needs to be very careful. That's a one-tap. See you later, XS Vampire. They at least are able to deal with a few more of these members on the sideline, but they just don't have the HP. They don't have the base to be able to stand there and try and take down Lucas.
No, we were talking about eSpoiled before. We might get a bit of a replay of that one going on with super creeps in mid and top just starting to whack into those tier 4 towers, but you could see that the makings of a successful team fight were there, right? Like, they found the good initiation. They were able to take out the Jakiro very, very quickly, take away all of that spell component, and Tiny dies too. You know, even with the Your Scepter, as long as Ursa's got that BKB, it's not going to stop him from having the overpower, and Tiny is still very squishy, despite all the armor, despite all the HP, against an Ursa that is able to just freely hit against him.
Yep. So... had all the hallmarkings of an ending fight, and unfortunately for Young G, that's an amp damage. The dead shot came just a little bit too late there from XX Vampire, and I mean, you're just trying to get some semblance of farm for Young G, just trying to find anything. And Lucas
that was without God Strength as well, by the way. So they've still got that. Whoever shows is going to get picked off.
Very fortuitous rune for them to grab there for that kill.
Yep.
They still
playing perfectly inside the fog as well. Lucas still just shows for half a second there on the map, so gonna be worried about moving on forward. But yep, just drop the snake. Why not?
You don't really want to fly back either on Young G. They're gonna try and do something here against Yayo. Monodrama. So they haven't actually taken this last lane of racks just yet. They are starting to kite it around it. Here's some BKBs going off here in the background. It's Corvus Knight. Pops it here on the action. Going to try and see if he can take down a few more of these heroes. They do get the first kill there onto the Jakiro, but look at the damage from the Sven. Lucas goes 1-2. See you later, and Bashka is stuck. It's GG's get dropped, and that is Nemiga losing the first game here up against Quantum. Are looking hot. They're looking ready to go. They're looking fat.
Bias though, it's the fact that they've been able to get 4 out of the 5 same heroes that they just had in the previous game, where they just absolutely stomped. pumped. And they've got that hyper carry that I was talking about as well. You know, that was one of the things that I mentioned as really needing that hero to really bring the whole draft together. Yes, it's not the same level of burst that we saw from the Sven, but when you think of hyper carries, there's not much better than a Medusa.
That's very true. She has been...
She has to be careful is what she needs to be. We're seeing a smoke coming across the map and might end up running into 5 heroes. Ooh. Two ships passing in the night. What's he doing out there? That's what I want to know.
Yeah, I don't know either. Usually there's a little bit of a movement.
Maybe just anticipating that they were going to go for a gank on him once the horn sounds and it turns into daytime, like's happened a few times, so he just wants to get out there before that actually happens.
Who knows? Either way, he's able to at least dodge it for now. You can just see on the other side as well that Quantum are making their way to the bottom side.
Wonder if they're going to do the old sentry ward trick underneath the tier 2 tower, just so that the creeps start hitting that instead of quickly getting to the lane. A lot of people are just body blocking these days, but it's still a possibility. No. He could always. They were under a smoke.
Yeah, Mary could always just do
up top
creep cut. It's a lot of damage there on a Lucas, but he's okay.
Should be fine. No, we've got 6 tangos on the Jakiro, which almost exclusively going to need to be used for himself, but already a mango being ferried out here by the courier and a clarity. That's basically as good as a tango whenever you've got the Deucer.
Really does just need to kind of get to the point where he can get out a few more of these snakes. The Mystic Snake. I was going to call it Serpent, and I was just like, that's not the name of this.
You got Serpent on the brain, that's why. You saw the massive one, and that was all you could think about. Might be rushing a Bassi as well on Mary, just to be able to help out a little bit with the regen in the lane, but
Lucas is in trouble. He's dead. Yeah. Yep. Few auto attacks there. Just walked into the Starbreaker from Cobus 9.
Yeah, we were looking down on the bottom side. I don't know why he ventured out of his little hidey hole next to the tier 1 tower. There's no real reason for him to have taken so much of that harassment at the very start of the game. So that's a good start for Nemiga to be able to get an early kill on the board, to get the... Was it Cobus 9 that got it? Yep, he got the first blood. So nice little start for himself there.
Yeah, getting close to that Soul Ring. Big start for the Dawnbreaker to be able to get you that little bit of extra mana.
How I see some of these other lanes looking. Mid lane should pretty much be a similar sort of story, right? Storm Spirit, especially ever since you brought in that static slide, does a fine enough job against the Tiny. Of course, things do change once the levels do start to ramp up, once you've perhaps got a power rune for Ankarad on his Tiny to be able to just burst him 100 to 0. And then for the bottom lane, really not expecting too much to change here. I mean, he's bringing in a lot of regen for himself on Emptiness, and he likes to play that really aggressive style, but I don't think that's the way. Maybe onto Monodrama they could look to go for some kills, but they're certainly not going to be able to target the TB as much as they did the Ursa in the previous game. There's going to be a lot more damage coming back out the other way.
Yeah, not as straightforward of a lane this time around. For the Quantum lads in the off lane, they're going to see if they can try and make it work. They're going to walk out here with the chicken fingers. They do get the Hex there on a Bashka, and they drop the Tombstone.
Yeah, I don't know what that's about.
Oh, yeah,
Maybe
at least got it denied.
Some miscommunication perhaps with the Shadow Shaman. He had the shackles available and ready to go. A couple of seconds left on the Metamorphosis, and a little surprised that they even went for that kill when the meta was still up. All they had to do was wait for a few seconds, and maybe they could have even forced a fight around this, around that Lotus Pool. TV naturally wanted to walk towards there anyways.
Oh, that's a big shackle and Starbreaker there onto Mary. XX Vampire cleans it up there with a kill shot.
Looking good for him so far. But again, Yayo is really just dominating this bottom lane. To be expected with an Undying, one of the best early game heroes that exist in Dota, whether it be from that 5 or even the position 3 role. But the difference is that TB has those ways to be able to even things out through moving into the jungle, using these illusions to be able to farm a little bit of the creep wave, have some of that ghost push happening eventually, but always going to have a bit of a rough time in these really early stages.
Yeah.
Especially when the wave is being pushed out like they're forcing the situation to be.
Oh, Ankred, he's in trouble here. The last word in the Arcane Curse doesn't get hit by the Static Remnant. It means that he lives.
Ooh.
Oh,
Nope.
no, he's getting chased by Monodrama. At least gets the Avalanche out. The wand at the final second there for Ankred means that he gets enough distance away from Monodrama, especially with his boots being picked up. So, yes, he survives, but he loses 2 water runes and a whole creep wave and a little bit of damage on his tier 1 tower as well.
Got to be a little careful here on Bashka as well. You know, you just showed that Silencer was away from the lane. You showed him using a bunch of mana, and Tombstone just come back off cooldown. So I wonder if that's why they're trying to shove this lane in a little bit and force a fight going up against Bashka. Silencer's back, but still feel like they might be looking to go for this sort of dive. There's the chicken fingers coming into the equation. Just drop the tomb, yep. Good slows coming out though.
Word. There is a TP that's coming in here from XX Vampire and Emptiness. They've tried to commit here onto the Terrorblade and they have overcommitted. Again, you can just see that small bit of miscommunication between Yayo as well as Emptiness. Kind of going in and out, back and forth between the two of them. Not fully committing to one way or another.
I mean, he channeled the shackles for about 0.1 seconds. I don't think that was because of the last word. I think it had actually expired by that point. Although, I'm going to be able to get this kill onto Clovis as a result of it. Got a few of those one charges. Yeah.
And you just don't have that much damage coming in from the Jakira as well as the Medusa just yet, right? You know, Medusa takes a very long time. She's like a steam train. Just kind of takes her time. Build up to
I thought
speed.
maybe they might have been able to get something going on there because the ice path was available. He's gone the icebreaker facet once again. TB does eventually end up falling down, and that's the sort of rotation that we want to see, right? Like, it's just a very easy pick off, not even needing the tombstone to be able to do it because TB is still quite squished and also reveals a bunch of information about the rest of them moving towards this top side of the map.
In the power rune, there is not that much mana left here for Young G. Ankred will have this illusion rune to try and play around with here. Monodrama understands this, so he's not going to drop any spells on him just yet. You can see that that high level of bait and switch between both of these two players. So Young G as well as Clovis 9 have to go back to base here.
Do indeed, and Emptiness was soaking up a bit of this. Yeah, he was soaking up a bit of the XP as well, so not too bad. Fine trade going on here, and you know, despite the fact that they've been ahead in kills all throughout, the net worth lead is still going in favor of the Quantum side. So, you know, Dusa dying just the one time in that top lane, but still doing A-OK up here. I think the big difference is going to be just who's going to be hitting that level 6 and who's going to be able to make the most out of some of those early movements coming through. Nice little yoink away of some of the stack there. But yeah, as soon as that Dawn hits level 6, I really want to see a movement come through from Storm Spirit. Is that going to be around like infused raindrops being picked up first before he tries to build towards the treads just to be effective right here, right now? Or is they just going to go, again, a more conservative route? But I have to say conservative didn't work for them last time, and that's why I like that sort of move. 4 heroes in, just straight up kill him as soon as that Solar Guardian's available.
It's a pretty easy 1-2 punch set up with a very simple stun or even just a slow. And then Clovis Knight is coming over the top with that Solar Guardian. Looking to try and make a fight towards the bottom side once again here. They will drop the Tombstone though. Bashka, that is a lot of damage that goes towards him. That is 3 levels into the decay. They have to be very, very careful for him. Cannot stun though because he does not have it. And that is just another kill going away here of Mary. As you said, there's no boots on the Silencer, so he is just getting slowed to oblivion. And eventually he'll get cleaned up there by Yayo. So it will be a big turnaround kill there for the side of Quantum.
I just got to keep this TB in the grave, essentially. Force him to have to retreat further back to the jungle. And that's exactly the type of gameplay that Quantum are wanting to force out of them. You know, they don't want them on the lanes. They don't want to be forced to defend. They've got a lineup that can very easily push into a bunch of these towers. Dusa, maybe not until she's got like a Manta style for herself. Just to be able to have that extra lane pushing ability without putting herself in danger. But certainly once Mass Serpent Wards comes online, Jakira's level 5. Only got the 1 point in the Liquid Fire, but it still does its job of slowly ticking that tower down and applying the attack speed slow.
Yeah, it's a nifty little ability to have. And we're looking right now. Fortunately, Bashka's just having a rough series. Having to deal with Dirge twice in a row. Dirge Shadow Shaman lane. I'm sure that's fun. A lot of damage that just went in there on Lucas.
When you pick a Shaman, a Terrorblade and Shamans in the pools, kind of what you should expect to be happening. I mean, it's one of the downsides to having that first pick, right? Hold on.
We're going to try and turn it back around. He is quite tanky. It's going to be very hard for them to try and take him down. Does have 21 charges, doing a lot of work to be able to get back into this. Young G is going to turn back around here
Drops
onto
the tomb.
emptiness. They will drop the tombstone. They can't really defend it though because Mary doesn't have all too much left, and they will just try and see how much damage they can do. Ankred's going to come here, has the amplified damage rune as well. They're going to use the avalanche and the toss. They don't have the extra damage. He's going to throw out the tree. Will take down the TB. So it's basically a 4v4 or 4v5. With the Dawnbreaker coming in as well. So a lot of members from both of the two teams being in this bottom side of the map.
Yes, indeed. And of course, it ends up being a 3-for-1 trade in favor of them. I'm a little surprised he took that long to be able to drop the tombstone, to be honest, because, you know, once he drops it, he was already dead.
He's in trouble here. Does have a big wand as well as a Lotus, and now with the TPs coming back in from emptiness, we'll be okay.
Ends up yoinking away that little, I think it's called a Maidstone bundle or something like that, for Madstone bundle, excuse me. So ends up getting his team closer and closer to some of those neutral items. Jakiro only one away. Looking to try and make a move on to the Storm Spirit. I'm not sure if a shield runed Storm Spirit is the play here. Might just be looking to get a little bit of that deep vision up, and they'll see Wind Ranger, and is that the kill that you want? I feel like if you're smoking and revealing in that area, yeah, they know that you've dropped something there.
Alright. Mary walking in and harassing XX Vampire.
It just feels like a pretty simple D-ward to me.
Yep. We'll see. Oh, does that see that observer ward?
Yep. That's why he power shot. So he's just going to bring his courier there. Gives him the tip saying, okay, you tried to kill me, but you just completely revealed your smoke movement. So a tiny bit sloppier here from Quantum, to be honest. Like, Lucas revealing on the lane, giving up that first blood before the 0-minute mark. A few less than ideal Undying plays in the team fights. The lane went amazingly, once again. And then what we just saw in terms of just giving up some information for free when you don't really have any stacks, so I don't think it's the biggest deal, the fact that they're not going to have that full level of information, because we know how much that influenced the outcome of the previous game, right? Being able to steal that quad stack that Axe was looking to try and farm in the Ancients.
It was quite juicy.
Just an Invis rune, but might be looking to join into this smoke and get a pick off onto the backlines here. Not before the Mass Serpent Ward gets dropped, though.
And they will put a lot of pressure on this tier 1 tower, but pressure release valves are
Gonna run
here.
into Undying first.
Yayo, he wants to try and get this tombstone down, but look at all the damage that they can do here. He does not have enough to keep himself alive, and now eventually Mary will get taken down. Yes, they do have the damage to take down the Jakiro as well. So just overstaying their welcome a little bit here for Quantum.
He was mid-cast as well of the Tombstone and the Flesh Golem, but maybe if he Flesh Golemed first, he would have been able to live. I guess he doesn't really have that much in the form of strength, though, at least in terms of his items. So once he gets that Crimson Guard, maybe they're going to choose a different target. But at least for now, the snowball is being stopped for the Undying, so we're not going to get a similar sort of story to what we got in game number 1. I have to wonder if, like, how low did that tower get? Yeah, about a quarter. So maybe they could just look to do a pretty similar sort of thing. Shadow Shaman doesn't have the Mass Serpent wards, but you also don't have Global Silence, you don't have Solar Guardian. You just look to try and take that tower off of simple right clicks.
Yeah, and once this T1 tower goes down, it does unlock the jungle for them.
So they're going for a smoke with Tiny's fresh Blink Dagger, 13 minutes in. So they would love to be able to find the TB again, just to make sure that, at least in terms of the carry-to-carry matchup, it's always going to be Lucas favoured by that.
Young G Finds out Mary. While they were trying to smoke here for the side of Quantum, Mary was trying to defend that middle tower and just gets caught on.
Yep. They'll still get a tower though. Wonder, will they be able to get here in time though? The smoke's got about 5 seconds left. Tiny's coming in with a fresh Avatos available and bottles the Arcane Rune. Is Young G going to get baited in? Or is it even bait?
Inside of the Roche pit.
Oh, the bash! Roche bashed him.
No way. Roshan playing for the Radiant there, it seems. Now they're going to see if they can try and keep this fight going. Yayo's going to walk in. Bashgar is getting very, very low. He needs to try and find a target, and he's not going to get one. So beautiful kiting there coming in from Quantum.
Another toss in.
It's on to Excess Vampire, and he's very, very low. Ooh, that tree is very spooky.
The homing missile tree for sure. Ending up being able to take him down, but yeah, a little bit of sloppy play from both sides, to be honest, right? Like, Silencer was full HP, had the global silence available in a little bit, so maybe he was valuing his life over the TBs, but I mean, considering the start to the game that you've had on Bashka, I think you've got to take every single opportunity to try and potentially protect him.
Yeah, sometimes you just have to take the L there for Monodrama, but he's set back once again here. Having a very tough start. Lowest of the cores again on the Terrorblade. Can flash farm though. This hero can build a lot of net worth, but it's all about, will you have the space on the map to build all this net worth? You know, at least you're keeping up these tier 1 towers. You haven't lost your mid lane one just yet. So that's a positive here for the side of Nemiga.
But I just saw on the bottom side, like, he starts to walk out to the lane to get a little bit of farm. Undying shows up instantly back into the jungle.
Yep. Can't go anywhere near him.
He doesn't see the Shadow Shaman just yet, so it's exactly where Emptiness is looking to move, and there's one, there's two gone, and there's your farming potential gone. That's the power of Shadow Shaman against this TB.
And Cred setting up here for a fight. Blinks away from XX Vampire. Doesn't want to engage into that global silence, as well as Young G, who are doing pretty well so far. Young G and Covus 9 really starting to hold the fort down for Nemiga.
TB's just got to move away from Shaman. And he's doing his job though. He's like stopping. He's going to get out.
You hate to see that.
I mean, he's just slowing down the farm so much that Bashka is able to have. Like, he's single-handedly wiped out 5 illusions, while Bashka's just forced to sit back and be farming neutral creeps.
Going on to Mary here, you do have to be very, very careful because you will have Lucas in the area, but they commit a global silence for a Jakiro. You're probably not too sad if you're Quantum, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, I don't think you're horribly sad for that. I mean, I don't think he goes for that if he doesn't have the regen rune, which just expired now, so he's fine to be able to pick up the kill. 0 deaths now for Young G and 7 kill involvements, so he should be pretty happy with how he's at least tried to right a few of the wrongs of the previous game, and overall it is a much more even one. Nemiga, slight win probability advantage, 57%, and you can only imagine like how that's going to change once TB actually does get some sort of semblance of farm, once he gets his own Manta style, and you can only get rid of so many of these TB illusions as Shadow Shaman. Like every 15 or so seconds you'll be able to get rid of 2, but there's just going to be 4 roaming about, so yeah.
That's true. You're also, committing the chicken fingers plus the actual hex just to take down those illusions. Please do a little work at just keeping the pace of the game nice and slow, and the game Cred does realise that. Goes back for a hand of Midas on the Tiny. So playing nice and slowly here. Covus 9's going to get that BKB, so this Dawnbreaker is, I don't want to say becoming a problem, but is very, very spooky in their own right. Can make it hard for Quantum to be able to play a lot of these team fights into that Dawnbreaker, but they want to try and make this rotation here. They want to see if they can take down Covus 9. They miss with the Ice Path, and then we'll just leave him be.
So Overward only sees the Deucer, who they already knew was there. Of course, they know Jakiro's there as well, because of the Ice Path. And Cred doesn't seem like he's been able to... I mean, with the Midas, it does provide him a little bit of that passive net worth coming through when he is going for these frequent ganks, so I don't hate it. And of course, anytime you're playing a really slow attack speed hero like the Tiny, like the Wraith King, you're just going to get much more value out of the Midas there. So later down the track, he likes to build into the Octarine, so a little value.
Yeah.
He's fine.
Kind of a hard hero
to pop everything.
Yeah, kind of a hard hero to gank.
He's got the cloak now and the completed Crimson Guard, so he's going to be A-okay. Yay-okay?
Yay-okay?
Finding here, trying to go in onto the Tiny, and he is certainly a lot more squishy.
And this is the power of the Dawnbreaker, just having that global join the fight ability. And now with no Tiny, do they try and defend this tier 1 tower? It's not really worth them committing too many resources for it, but maybe if they can get it cheaply, Yayo. Going on the back line here is XX Vampire. They will try and commit here. They get the global science coming out as well. The Deuce is going to make her rotation. They want to see if they can try and cancel this TP. No way for Emptiness to get in there. And Young G would dip out as well. So that was a smash and grab, if I've ever seen it.
Could have potentially used Manta and Stonegaze to be able to stop the Dawn TP away, but maybe just thought it was a little bit too close for comfort, not wanting to waste it. But again, big ulti's used, right? No Global Silence, no Solar Guardians, so is now the time to actually look to try and go in. Sure, you used your Tombstone, but I feel like this is the sort of time where you need to try and take away something that the enemy has, or get a big objective for yourself like the Tormentor, which is just spawned up on the top side of the map. And I feel like Nemiga know this, and that's why they're starting to make a move up there. Ults or not, they just feel like they can't let it go uncontested.
Yep. You know, seeing the TV slowly start to creep up now. Up that net worth chart as you see the Undying and the Tiny. Just not being able to get their stranglehold on the rest of the map like they had in game 1. That is pretty spooky. Blink, Avatos gets in onto XX Vampire. They want to try and catch out this Wind Ranger. She will win run as far as she possibly can, and that's a whole lot of distance she's able to create, and they just don't get anything for it.
Even Blinks away, but again, mission kind of accomplished. I mean, you pushed them away from the Tormentor, which is the big prize that you're wanting anyway. You've got Deucer Illusion still just passively farming incredibly effectively. Be able to even go into that tier 1 tower after the fact, and now it's even harder to be able to kill the Shadow Shaman.
Yep, got the juiced up foul play.
Don't even hate Undying taking this this Wisdom Room for himself as well. Bring him to level 12. Much tankier as a result of the strength multiplier coming through from him, even though he still hasn't gone into basically any strength items outside of the Soul Ring.
That is true. He doesn't have crazy amounts of strength, but I mean, you hit a 2-man decay and, you know, you're sitting at an extra +8, so it's not too bad.
All these aura items, more important again. Like, we keep talking about the utility, and this is what he's looking to provide. Hopefully Tiny's able to use the Midas. Comes off cooldown for the 2 times.
Come on, Cred. You can do it. Let's get the Arcane Rune. He's looking. They're going to go in towards the Roche pit. So
it's a nice freebie to have. I mean, maybe they just feel like Deuce is online enough with this this butterfly. Like, what can they really do to be able to kill her? You've got responses to everything that they're going to be able to throw at you outside of, I guess, Sunder. I do like the fact that Nemiga's not letting them get anything for free, though. Completely for free. Like, yeah, they give a Roche for free, but tier 2 tower top's going to be going down as a result of this. TP's coming in from the Undying, but I don't think it's really going to be able to do much.
They're going to be able to hold it, so the global will come down. Covers9 has to pop that BKB just to run.
Still got the tower,
Yayo is eventually going to be able to get here as well. Do they have the extra damage? You've got the Metasar to get away. Covers9 running deep, trying to get away from any more of these members. Doesn't get it. They're looking to see if they can find more members. They get Monodrama. I mean, it feels alright that you got a kill, but you would have loved to have gotten the kill on Covers9.
Yeah, and they still got the tower, so I don't even know if you need to completely back off here. I mean, it seems like Storm Spirit just wants to shove out other lanes, check for any stacks, look to pick up some of his own farms so that he can look to increase some of his net worth, and Dawn ulti needed? Probably not needed, but he's going to pop it anyway. But that does kind of leave this top area of the map kind of vulnerable. You know, Lucas, with the Aegis for another 4 minutes, is just going to look to take a bunch of these neutral stacks. They're going to shove in this top lane. At the very least, I would want them to be forcing a glyph out from Nemiga.
It seems like Lucas is going to continue to stay up here.
Yep, I like it. They've got complete control over the top side. No global, no solar, 2 lives. Eventually they're going to pop the glyph, but it's not actually going to get rid of any creeps. You've got another creep wave coming in about another 5 seconds.
That was a very mistimed glyph there. And they're just going to leave it. Okay. So just let that tier 2 go down. So you've got this full unlock pretty much here for Quantum. Be able to take around that triangle area. They're looking to try and impose themselves in that kind of similar area here for Nemiga. Now they've got the pipe up as well. And do you just kind of beat it, like, do you march down with the Medusa now that you've just got all these auras and you just stick her in front of a tower and you say, for 2.5 minutes, can you try and kill her twice? I don't know.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, Tiny, he's got the boost to travel, so he can just look to join them at any time. That's kind of why he can just be sitting back here on the sidelines. I think in an ideal world, he didn't want to show on the lane at all, just so that you were under the threat that he could just join in at any time. But you know what? He's still going to be able to fix the lanes. He's still going to be able to farm up that BKB. I think that's really the last thing that they're waiting for, is just get the BKB and then look to start pressuring into that high ground, or again, at the very least, the last tier 2 tower on the bottom side of the map.
Yeah, exactly. Just trying to take all those outer towers down while you have this giant power spike of the Medusa where she's got these 2 lives. Getting closer to Disperser as well. Medusa's going to hit hard. She's going to cleave through the entirety of this team, and all of those mana burn hits. It's going to be very spicy for the Storm to try and deal with, and it looks like they're going to try and knock on the front door here.
Even just the movement speed can be really nice when you consider like going up against the Dawn, going up against the...
Oh, they've gotten the Dawnbreaker here. Pops that BKB, pops the Blade Mail as well. Ankred's going to have to try and walk back, but Lucas, though, walks in here with the Stone Gaze. Young G goes out with that Shield Rune. XX Vampire tries to get the Assassinate there onto Ankred, but doesn't get it done. So, a lot of damage going here onto Lucas. He's potentially going to be losing this first life. Have to be very, very careful for the Medusa. They get about half HP on the tier 3 tower, but they've used absolutely everything here.
Got Global and Solar Guardian.
Do have the Medusa to try and play around with this here. The Shadow Shaman's going to go into the back. He's able to live there thanks to the foul play. Chicken Fingers is going to be able to do some work in this next couple of fights as well. Cova's 9 goes down thanks to the toss, but Lucas very low here on the Medusa. Thanks to all that mana burn. Young G, okay, I thought he was going to try and at least cancel the TP there on a Lucas, but he at least cancels the one onto Yayo. And that will mean now that this Undying really wants to try and run away. He does have the Crimson Guard. Does have the Crimson Guard.
Yeah, he's
not use the Crimson Guard.
He's got the Ceaseless Verge. Maybe he thinks, you know what, I'm going to need it in the next 40 seconds. So
yeah,
I don't know why he dropped the Tombstone, though.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you want to waste a bit of time, pop everything. Just, you know, if you give your Medusa another 20 seconds of hitting creeps and pushing out these lanes while they're still trying to kill you, it's a big positive in and of itself.
So what can both teams look to do now? I mean, you've got this Disperser, which again I really feel like is the slow aspect that they're looking to try and address. So Arcane Curse, Reflection plus Celestial Hammer. So just being able to get out of those, give your team a little bit of a respite. I don't know, I kind of prefer the Skadi though, especially going up against Storm Spirit and the TB in terms of just the raw HP that it's going to provide you over a Disperser. I don't think you're lacking in damage at this stage on Lucas.
Definitely feels like that he is at that, I would say, critical point. He still has a lot of room to grow, potentially 3 items to be able to close it out too, but he's definitely in that damage area, looking to try and just get tankier now. Which is kind of the problem with the Disperser, is the fact that you've obviously got the Reflection that can do quite a lot of damage to you as well. So
gonna get a free Wisdom Rune, yoink. They're split around pretty effectively across the map on Nemiga, so if they were to try and find a pick of it, it would be on just one hero, which not the worst. It's always the sort of thing, like when you're playing for a disadvantage, you can't just like definition of insanity is just running into the wall over and over and over again, right? You may as well just try and split the map up, and if one person dies, you just hope that it's one of your position 4 or 5s, because the carry is going to be taking the safest farm.
And I think it's getting to the point now where this triple core is going to potentially start to outscale as well. So if you're the side of Nemiga, you're more than happy to play nice and slow. And as you said, as long as it's not those big cores that are losing their life, it is a bit of a positive, because it really does feel like that Yayo has kind of been stunted. The entirety of this game feels like he got Crimson Guard, and then a little bit after that he got Pipe, and now he's just hasn't done much.
Seen all these TPs come through though off the back of this excess Vampire ward, so they're able to back off in time to be able to just get away without too many concerns. He is building towards that Aghanim Scepter though, so it should help Yayo in terms of his farming capabilities, as well as just survivability in a lot of these team fights.
10 strength steel does feel quite nice, especially when you do that flesh golem. Covers 9 pops the BKB, has to nightfall out. We'll see you later.
And in terms of Anchorat as well, like, that's the thing that's always been so good about Tiny, as with Storm Spirit with the regen rune. It doesn't feel like you have any big weaknesses, like, in terms of your timings. There's always something good very close on the horizon. Like, early on, massive damage. Level 6, grow, big upgrade, you suddenly don't have 0 armor anymore. You know, level 10, more avalanche cast rate. Like, every time, there's just something coming up very soon. And for him, level 20, just having that toss requiring no target is going to be enormous. Tossing someone back close enough to a Shadow Shaman that has the blink and the Aether Lens to be able to connect with the shackle.
And also just being able to run in, avalanche toss somebody, and just be able to put them into whatever position you'd like is quite nice. The Storm's getting close to that Shiva's Guard. Actually, not close at all, another 2,000 gold away. I'm used to the old days of a 600 gold recipe.
I'm glad it's not anymore. Yeah.
Future is
a little
now
bit too good. Okay, Boomer. Don't mention my age.
Don't do it. It's fine. I'm the
All
one
right,
that's
level 20 on the
feeling
Tiny
back pain right now.
True. Only 700 gold away from his own Octarine as well, so even more effectiveness in a lot of these team fights. Another big power spike coming through from him. He's even got the Whisper of the Dread, neutral item for even more
emptiness. I mean, he broke a smoke. He was sitting there kind of just waiting for Roche anyways. But now 40 seconds without the Shadow Shaman.
He's just trying to, well, I was about to say keep the regen rune active, but I think he was a little slow to use that mana on Young G, so doesn't actually have it continuously ticking up. Does have his level 20 though, so more of an electric vortex duration. He gets a DD rune for his troubles, because of course he does. After the Shivas, I wonder if it does kind of feel like that. They don't have the Wombo combo as the thing for the Aghanim Scepter. Like, it's not the same level of effectiveness as we've seen in previous games. TB still incredibly single target. Dawnbreaker, I guess, but I don't think Covas 9 is that much of a right-click threat at this point. Maybe once he gets into the Satanic and the overwhelming blink, he will be, just off the back of all the strength that it's going to provide him. But yeah, for now, it just feels like he's kind of playing that supporting role as well. Really long Roche respawn.
They don't see these wards. Beautiful ward there from XX Vampire, and they miss another. So they just got all of this information now for Nemiga. They know exactly where everybody is for the side of Quantum. They are staring at Roche.
I almost wonder, because he's gone the Whisper of the Dread neutral item on Anchorad, he didn't see the Wind Ranger, and Wind Ranger has a gem. Like, that 15% daytime vision reduction actually, I think, prevented them losing a gem at that stage. Would he have jumped in into the unknown?
Ooh, Yayo. He's quite tanky here on the Undying, but it's all about emptiness. He loses a lot of his life here. The Global Silence will go down as well. XX Vampire is going to lose his life as well as Monodrama. So they get the buyback now out on the Shadow Shaman. They want to try and go in here on Mary. But now with Cobus 9, he's just in the middle of everybody and he gets stoned up and will lose his life as well. It's just a hard fight when you don't have your TB ready and available. Bashka will just have to walk away with Young G with his tail between his legs.
He just wasn't there. I mean, that's the big difference, as well as it really felt like they were splitting a lot of the damage between the Undying and the Shadow Shaman. Sure, you get the Shaman, but if you're going to commit onto Yayo, he's got to die. You know, he lives long enough to be able to pop Pipe, Wand, Crimson Guard, ults, drops the Tombstone, gets a Decay off, and then he's A-OK.
He does start to walk over, and then he just seems to not be able to commit to the fight. Just throws out a reflection and walks away. Thought this was definitely a fight they wanted to try and keep going in with, especially because Young G is just going to be able to walk in there. Yeah, he just couldn't commit to a fight. Walked in, walked out, walked in, walked out. And just a little bit indecisive there from Bashka. Just
and what you need is decisiveness at this stage. You know, like that's the hallmark of a great team. Is just. I mentioned it when we were talking about the differences between a lot of offlaners and Amar, for example. Amar he knows what he wants to do and he just fully commits with it with the rest of the team, and they follow essentially.
And that's yeah, as you said, just the comparison between these two different teams is sometimes you just get that little bit extra out of some of these players when it comes to backs against the wall kind of stuff in these close qualifiers. And it looks like Lucas has done a fantastic job so far for Quantum.
Ooh,
put the team on the back.
Save as well off the back of the Tombstone. So it really feels like it has to be Yayo that you focus down 100-0 in a lot of these fights. He's just got way too much utility, way too much survivability if you give him even a split second to get off any of these abilities. And if it's someone else, he can just save them with Tombstone as well on top of all of that.
And it feels like that he's going to be a pretty hard prospect, because if you don't go in him, Jakiro's got Ice Path from Narnia. You've also got everything that Emptiness can do. And Craig can jump onto the back lines, get an Avalanche Toss, do a lot of that extra damage. And then it just leaves that Lucas to completely do whatever he wants. And the question is, can you kill everybody else around Lucas before he's killed you?
Yep. The answer is probably not.
Yep.
Where's the thing over?
Oh no, XX Vampire, he's walked in, he gets chickened up and will lose his life as well. That's 80 seconds without a Wind Ranger.
Is that second Roche or first? Second, right?
Second Roche. Yeah, the banner's on Lucas.
Ah, okay.
Which I don't know why he hasn't given the banner to one of his supports, but this is what it is.
He's
going to go forward here. Ankred goes in. No BKB just yet here from Young G. So look at how much damage is going out here from Lucas. So they don't really get any of these extra kills just yet. Global Silence in the background. That's a beautiful Doorbreaker ulti there to be able to go on top of the Shadow Shaman. It's just Lucas versus Bashka in the back lines here as well. Bashka has not used that Sunder. So you have to be very, very careful here on the second life for Lucas. Bashka's going to walk forward. Gets that Sunder going in. But with how much mana that Lucas has, it is more than easy for him to just walk away from this. Do they have a way of stopping the TP? Yes, they do from Ankred. And they will just take down the Dawnbreaker. It is a buyback from the Tiny. And Bashka did win the fight against Lucas. So the Aegis of the Immortal is gone. So Quantum not being able to make that one a clean fight. They do take down a full lane of Rax, but they lose a lot out of it themselves.
I think the big difference there was that Yayo was just way out of position. You know, they made a jump onto people when they were away from this Undying. I think he might have just been looking to try and pick up that Aghanim Scepter at the time, move a bit closer to his courier, and it just meant no pipe, no Crimson Guard, no Tombstone save either. Would have been perfect if he just moved down at this stage, but I think understandably, his eyes were just on protecting Lucas as much as possible, but when the supporting cast isn't there, you just see how quickly things can fall by the wayside.
Yeah, you can just see in a lot of these different fights that he was sitting behind Lucas, and then he walked up to the high gun on the opposite side. So he didn't really have a good trajectory to get towards his teammates and really be able to put all of the utility for his team. Oh, uh-oh. Still good vibes, though. Still good vibes.
Yep. Yeah. Old emptiness there. It's maybe, I think he cancelled his his shackles a little early and thought he would be able to blink away from the Storm Spirit right click, but wasn't able to do it. We do have that Aghanim Scepter, though, picked up by Storm. So I said they don't really have the Wombo combo, but maybe now they're feeling like it's getting to the stage that Dawnbreaker is going to be able to start outputting some of that damage. He's going for a Disperser of his own, just to potentially slow down this this Deucer when she pops the Stone Gaze. Doesn't have the undulation facet, so it is going to be quite effective onto her. Also, just mana burn in general against the Deucer is going to be great.
Rest in peace to Diffusal 2. Long live Disperser.
Oh, he's still got the banner. Give it to someone else.
He dropped it.
Okay.
He hurt. Good guarding moves now for Mary. And this is the reveal of the blue hole. You have to be very, very careful here. They do not pop the BKB just yet here from Young G. They will turn back around with another global silence. With the amplified damage rune, it's a lot of mana that gets lost here by Lucas as well. The Stone Gaze is still rolling out. They'll want to try and walk forward and see if they can take down the Deucer. They do get rid of Lucas. 100 seconds on the sideline without him. But now look at all the damage. They take down Covis 9. And they lose out on the Dawnbreaker, and everybody else has to fall back. So 80 seconds with no Medusa here. She does have a buyback, and Mary will just lose their life as well.
Tiny's actually pretty beastly.
Wants to walk forward and see what he can get here. Emptiness has to try and blink away from the Storm Spirit, gets himself into the trees and Tippy's away.
Regen rune. Gotta pick it up, can't let Storm Spirit have it.
Yayo. Walks in, gets that regen rune, so it will continue to keep walking forward. Heard the Demon Zeal get used there by Bashko. Wants to try and get in and get this Sunder going. XX Vampire goes forward onto Ankred. Ankred looks away. Continues to keep this walk forward. Yayo will just get sundered. And that is a nice little pick up there from Bashka. And then we'll continue to walk forward.
Dead as well.
But unfortunately for Emptiness, he just went a little bit too far forward. And it's the save you mate syndrome. Just a little bit too much. What was that overextension coming in here from Quantum, and they give Nemiga quite a lot of kills.
Quite a big fight recap as well. Lasted for an eternity, it felt. I honestly thought that Tiny had done a lot more than that in the team fight. I mean, he got level 25 mid-team fight, so that extra 8-second reduction on the Avalanche cooldown means that he's throwing it out every 4.5 seconds. Especially now when it's getting to this stage where... Oh, see you later, Mary.
Yeah, just walks forward. I mean, macropying the creep wave. He's probably not the worst end.
It's not connecting on all of them, though.
Yeah, it was, for some reason it was just not hitting those range creeps. I thought it was a little weird.
Time for an egg.
Alright. Ankred. Let me see if he can take down Monodrama here. And unfortunately, they have just squandered this lead. They are trying to get away, but unfortunately for Ankred, that's a BKB piercing stun, mate.
That is a dieback as well.
Yeah.
So they know that there's no Tiny for the next 2 minutes, and can they do off the back of this? I mean, Deuce is up, Jakira's up in 15 seconds. You've got your big ultimates available again for the Undying, but that Tiny provides so much in the form of initiation and forcing out these BKBs that it's a scary prospect to have to lane into. Right now, I really wouldn't want Emptiness to be buying any sort of item. He needs to save that buyback because he is your initiation. He is the one that's going to force Storm Spirit to use his BKB.
100%. And now it's getting to a very dire time here for Quantum. Disperser's up for the Dawnbreaker, and also Disperser up now. He's almost completed it for the Terrorblade. So there's a lot of this mana burn is going to be coming the way here of Lucas, and it's going to be very hard for him to try and hold on to the big lead that they have. So Bashka, let's try and take down this tier 3 tower. He's a very tanky hero here on the front lines. So it looks like they're going to survive for now. I don't know if this whole tier 3 tower is going to survive for 50 seconds. Okay.
I'm just watching, like, the supports are so scared of Young G at this point.
Yep.
I mean, he's got a haste tree, but that's not really going to help him in these team fights. But they're not willing to put themselves on the front lines to be able to even just throw down the macro pie. We saw what happened previously. Of course, Blink Hex on Shadow Shaman is going to be effective as well, but you just can't run the risk at this stage. He did actually start to buy towards that Lotus Orb. I guess that's just a silencer counter at this stage. You've already got the Guardian Greaves.
You need something.
Sunder as well, I guess. So we're going to have something on Nemiga.
We're going away here. So Cheese being picked up by Young G. Aegis is going to go on to Bashka. Just means that he can sit in the front and siege. So what are we looking at now?
0 and
for
13
Quantum?
on Young G. That's what we're looking at, for me at least. Like, he is just completely taken over this game. He's holding on to the refresher. He's got the overload attack bounce as well. He's about to have enough money to be able to buy the Parasma. So I really just want to see how much harass and damage and everything that he's going to be able to throw out in these fights, because I keep talking about these things that are going to force BKBs to be popped, but G just damage is what's going to force it to be popped. My career doesn't have anything on it, but could still look to claim it. No, never mind.
It was close. Tried.
Indeed.
33 galvanized stacks though. God damn. Young G.
Yep. Happens when you don't die.
Yeah. We're at the point now where they're just able to put the Terrorblade in the front. 3600 HP, full Scardy. Doesn't have that BKB yet, but it's going to be hard to take down the Terrorblade. They're going to try here. The Global Silence will come out. Young G goes in towards Lucas now, but look at how much mana burn that is going through this. They got stuck out. Young G's oh so low. They are trying to clean up on the Storm Spirit. They don't get it just yet, but a lot of ultimates being used, and they will just back out.
Can go back in, though. It's only Corvus 9 that backs off, and they do still have the cheese, but no, Storm Spirit decides against it. Gonna back off completely. Not even popping the refresher as well on Monodrama, so they might even just be able to hope that the next team fight comes in 60 plus seconds, so that they're going to have the double global again, and he's working his way towards the Aghanim Scepter for himself as well. So that'll be really nice, applying to everyone. Ends up being a little bit of a saving mechanism for himself as well, right? He's got the Suffer in Silence facet, so means that he's going to be able to have 20% reduced damage coming his way.
He's quite big, able to survive just a little bit longer. But where these fights are going, it'll take a few very specific things to go the way of Quantum for them to be able to survive the way this goes. And
ooh,
Lucas
walking maybe a bit too far forward under the vision.
Monodrama. They've been able to find him out, but now they're just going to go in here with the blue hole. Look at the damage they just do here. Out onto Emptiness. It's getting very, very low here on the Shadow Shaman. But look at the damage that turns back around here from Lucas. With no Terrorblade here, this means this is a fight they can start to win. Now he's gone in on the sideline as well. Bashka's getting very, very low. They want to try and turn around here for Lucas. He does a lot of damage back onto the TV, but there is so much that he is trying to fight through. They will buy back now onto XX Vampire. They will all just get out and everybody will shake hands and say thank you very much for that fight. We'll take the lead right now for Quantum.
Thing is, the net worth lead is kind of continuing to grow still for Nemiga, despite all of this happening. It was XS Vampire using the buyback, but they get out of there, out of dodge. That's the difference maker, right? Like, he just went way too far forward on Monodrama. No need to walk down to the low ground there after placing that that Observer Ward. It never really should be him that's putting himself in harm's way.
Yeah, he definitely... I mean, he pretty much at this point, he can almost just sit in base. We've seen that before.
It's getting close to that point.
Time ago.
Yeah, he's basically an alternate Glimmer Cape is all that he's providing at this stage.
You can see the fact that it's literally Glimmer Cape from the pressure.
Still wants to hold that buyback money though. Want to run the risk of losing a bunch, although it looks like they're trying to go for a bit of a wraparound here, perhaps, or even just playing around that vision that they've got. It's Tiny going for E-Blade, just really trying to go for the 100 to 0 burst, huh?
The one tap. I was gonna question about whether or not he wanted to try and start to transition a little bit to a bit more of this right-click damage from Ankred and try and go for like Ags plus a Daedalus build, but
it is nice to
like
have.
the E-Blade.
Once you're level 25 with the Avalanche having 4.5 second cooldown, toss 8 seconds, it's good enough to be able to go full magic, I think. Of course, you'd love to be able to do physical damage as well, but I think this avenue feels really nice too.
I agree.
Nearly able to Manta dodge the Sunder in the last fight as well was Lucas. Well, he did, but there wasn't enough follow-up damage to kill TB before the Sunder still happened.
Yeah. So they at least now know that the TB versus Medusa matchup is a bit of a spicy one. Especially now with a lot of the different items that are coming up. Going to get this Aghanim's Blessing coming out for Lucas. Doesn't have anything to replace it with just yet, so it's either he's...
He'll get a Blink Dagger.
Yeah, I guess he's waiting for Blessing plus Dagger. So what? 3,800. It's getting close. 700 gold away from having that and buyback.
Correct. What are we getting close to? Level 3 ulti on Shadow Shaman still not claimed at the 49-minute mark, but looks like this Wisdom Rune will be able to secure that for him. Will mean that he doesn't have buyback, but could go and buy the completed Lotus Orb now if you really wanted to. It's also gotten late enough that I think these are the buffed up versions of the Healing Lotuses as well, so single one gives him a great Healing Lotus. This is very ballsy to be going that deep into the lane and instantly able to blink away and still dies. Okay.
Yeah. So, being a little bit too far out.
A lot too far out. And this high ground ward is still here, by the way. How have they not dewarded this?
Another fight here that's going to be breaking out. XX Vampire's one that goes in, but that is a
blue
massive blue hole coming in from Young G, and they just delete the entirety of Quantum, and it's Lucas that's the next on the chopping block, and he is dead as well. Emptiness will lose his life after a buyback, and Quantum, they just walk into the meat grinder, and Young G puts the team on his back and says, thank you very much.
What did he buy?
Oh, Ancred.
Buy it.
He's just dead.
Kind of what he was forced to do. I mean, he's got the buyback, so they're just trying to slow this push down, but the one that's doing the majority of the pushing, and Vashka is still in the bottom side of the map. He's still pushing in to that tier 3 tower, and even though Metamorphosis is just about to wear off, they should be able to have enough to be able to at least get a tier 3? Maybe, maybe not. Double buyback, maybe he'll be forced to back off. Yeah, I'm not sure why Dusa doesn't have buyback. She bought the Blessing, but you still had enough. Was it upgrading a Crystallis to a Daedalus after that? I'm not sure.
It was the BKB.
Everything else. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, buying the full BKB there.
Not able to pop it.
Yeah. I mean, at that point as well, it just felt like that everyone just got deleted. Yayo really didn't get to utilize anything here, so they're just going to go forward once again. 29 seconds till they have the Medusa. One Lenarax has gone down. We're going to see if they can try and make this a second. So basically, even when it comes to the creeps,
they have to just cut their losses and hope to try and protect before mega creeps are coming out.
MG. We're going to try and force a bit of this back here from Yayo. So much of this mana burn comes in from the TB illusions. It's like playing up against that Phantom Lancer, but now they're going to use the Global Silence once again. Deuce is going to get the TP going forward. Windmaker comes in from Ancred, misses out with the Avalanche, and they have no way of stopping the BKB TP away. So Kova's Knight, ooh, Bashka. He's going to go again.
He's going to be thinking about it, but maybe just feeling like the rest of the boys aren't there, and that middle lane pushing in is always a little bit of a cause for concern. E-Blade finished up, Lotus Orb finished up. You don't need to worry about buyback at this stage. Really is the all or nothing sort of style that they're going for on Quantum. Going for a Daedalus next on Lucas. Wonder what he's even going to drop. I mean, pop the BKB, swap the MKB in.
Yep, potentially.
Nope, he sells the... What did he sell? God damn.
What was it?
5-second memory. Never mind, he sells all the other components of the MKB and he's like, alright, rapier time. Nope, never mind. What did he sell? Butterfly.
Oh.
I mean, maybe he's just saying, look, this MKB on the TB is doing enough, let's just do our own damage. Could be a big
Now, a
kill.
fight's going to break out once again. The blue hole goes into the background. Jakiro down. Monodrama down as well. Same with the Shadow Shaman. Losing his HP. Wants to try and stay alive, so Emptiness is able to live just for a little bit longer. Now, they're going to try and go into Bashka in the backlines here. It's Lucas and Ankred versus that Terrorblade. You have to be very, very careful here, though. He does pop that BKB. Young G is going to go into the backlines as well. Getting relatively low on the mana. Ankred's going to turn back around with his own BKB. How much damage can they do here from Lucas? Beautiful shackle from Echo's Vampire. It provides all of that extra space, and just look at all of the drama that goes in onto Lucas off the back of Monodrama doing his thing, and that is going to be another dead hero. And let's make it 2 more. It looks like Quantum aren't going to be able to hold on. They'll drop the GGs, and that is a big comeback from Nemiga to be able to take this all the way to a 3rd Danog. That has been a nice little turnaround for them in this game number 2.
Completely, and it's just
pretty straightforward, man. Like, very straightforward support duo, pretty straightforward lanes. Sidear's going to do well. The Dragonite potentially could have a bit of a rough time, but Young G has been such a consistent force for Nemiga that I'm kind of happy with him just playing whatever. And we've just seen Sven. And this is something I think I touched on yesterday. I think Bashka's best hero has been the Sven so far. That's been the one hero that I've actually been impressed with for Bashka. So
I think a lot of players' best hero has been the Sven, though, is the thing. How much of it is the player, how much of it is the hero?
I like to give credit.
Sure.
Most of the time.
I see it. I guess the one small thing that I have an issue with Nemiga's draft is that you've got 3 cores that all essentially do very similar things. Like, big beefy hero that gets into melee range-ish and right-clicks for big damage, you know? And so if you're able to get around that somehow with building into a bunch of plus armor, getting something like the Shivas, having multiple sources of percent damage, which you can, you know, use from afar-ish, it's going to be pretty effective. So, I don't know, like, this is going to be an interesting one to see how it all turns out. My eyes are firmly on Ankred, though, for, honestly, even from, like, level 3 onwards, I think he could potentially be looking to go for dives onto Young G.
Yeah, I think this middle lane, I don't want to say it's going to make or break the game for Quantum, but very much can set them up for...
I'll say that.
Okay, can very much set them up for a very easy mid-game or a very hard mid-game. If you have a Phoenix at 15 minutes, that's basically another position 4, then pack her up, boys. It's time to go home, I think. But if they're a nuisance and are really, really hard to deal with, and enables this Lifestealer to be able to sit back and farm until they get, you know, maybe Radiance +1, or maybe, like, you know, Armlet, SNY, all that kind of stuff. And that's when things can really start to open up here for Quantum.
Yeah, for sure. Like I said, I'm really interested to see how this one is going to turn out. It's all on the back of Ankred for me. You're a little hesitant. You're on the fence, and, you know, that's pretty standard with you. But, you know, I'm happy to put my money where my mouth is. Ankred will win or lose the game for Quantic here. Quantic?
Yeah, see, you've got the nice shiny Immortal badge. I'm unranked, so, you know, for me, I don't really have much street cred to lose. So I'll try and keep the small amount that I have, okay?
Alright, acceptable. Quantum. Why do I keep saying Quantic? I'm just remembering old school Dota over and over again. I was referencing Ice 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 TI2, for God's sake.
There's nothing like the Dota boomers being like, I remember back in my day. Well, I mean, I was referencing old parts of heroes before as well. So.
I mean, TI is going back to Germany, like TI1, so...
Yeah, that's true. Let's bring it back. Let's have a show match of TI1 Dota.
Of course,
that grand final.
Oh.
Make free to play too.
Nearly ended up dying there, but a Fairy Fire at the very end ends up keeping Emptiness alive.
Solid start for all the calls here from Quantum, from Nemiga, pardon me.
Oh,
just living.
Just living, but can't really look to join back with too much ease. Again, I keep harping on about the attack range difference, and it's a big one. 275 attack range difference between AA and Bane.
Oh, Emptiness.
And that's what happens. Most of the time,
not sure.
You get a more favorable trade with Bane, just because you've got the brain sap to be able to come back. But not against AA. You just slowly chip him down.
Just donk. I was expecting maybe he would have returned back to base, but maybe he wanted to trade some life, and now Mary gets bashed up there by Covis 9. I was looking to see if they could try and bash up Lucas as well. Doesn't get the bash of the deep. And Ankred, as you said, level 3. Dives underneath the tower. Gets the kill on the Dragon Knight.
Occasionally I'm right, and I'm happy that that's still the case.
I heard the small little fist bump to yourself. Like, yes! That's a Reddit clip.
Not even.
Danog predicts Ankred killing Young G at level 3.
Whoa! I mean,
whoa!
Dendy playing LOL because he didn't get to a certain MMR was on the front page, so...
Yeah, you ain't beating that, brother. Sorry.
No.
It's a good start, though, for Ankred. Obviously, solo kill is huge, but means now that getting a lot of these early levels for Phoenix, I think, is a big thing. Not so much about the gold. The gold will come. It's all about the experience and the levels here. Just trying to make sure that he builds towards a lot of those deep levels of the fiery spirits, gets towards that egg as quickly as possible, trying to get those hits up and the cooldown down, just so they can fight.
Yep, and it's also just helped so much with... I know he's only got 3 so far, but denying against the DK becomes so much easier if he's got less of that... see that one going on. Up on the top side, Curvis9 able to get another kill onto Mary. Yeah, it's really just about trying to get into that Urn of Shadows as quickly as possible, and... I mean, even honestly, the innate from Phoenix is pretty good, right? The Blinding Sun against 3 melee heroes. Melee physical damage heroes is going to be amazing.
Yeah, I think that'll be a big thing for a lot of these heroes to try and contend with from Ankred. And we'll be blind.
Yep.
So, we'll see as we go.
Well, indeed. Wonder if he's going to, like, as soon as this Urn of Shadows comes out, make that rotation. He's got it brought up already, but looks like he wants to have the full magic wand first. Probably just anticipating having his supernova at that point. I think you can instantly go for a rotation. Actually goes on mid. Oh, gets stunned up.
He does have the level 6. He wants to see if he can get the kill here onto Young G.
Not worth. Oh, AA.
He does have the egg available. He's going to have to pop it at a very inopportune time. I'm not going to be able to commit for it, so Monodrama's just going to leave it be. But, I mean, Supernova's on cooldown for 2 minutes.
It is. Yeah, I was wondering, like, do you wait for your Urn of Shadows? Like, that is a kill if he doesn't get that stun off. So, again, Young G just showing his prowess in that mid lane. Literally the difference maker between a really massively snowballed Phoenix and one that has to sit back a little bit further.
Just giving him the tip there from Ankred. Well done, mate. Bottom side, though, they're putting a lot of pressure here onto Bashka. Yayo's going to go underneath the tower here with level 3 of that Scorched Earth. Oh, that's slow coming in from the Chill Touch. Could potentially save Bashka's life, but it looks like no. With the Scorched Earth, it's a little bit too far. Oh, it does survive. Because it does pan out. And now Bashka, oh! If he'd got that auto attack on the neutrals, that was going to be a deny every day of the week.
It's got a shield rune to be able to play around with on Ankred as well, so I'm still fine for him to go for these dives, supernova or not. Just try and keep Young G pressured back as much as possible. Although the shield runes can be kind of counterintuitive to the Phoenix, considering he's got the dying light facet, so he kind of wants to be missing health so that he's doing more of that damage.
Could you imagine if the shield rune carried on into the Phoenix egg?
Oof. Bro, it's already busted enough. Why does it last, like, an hour? It feels like.
6 seconds is a long time.
Level 7 versus level 5. I mean, gotta go for it. Seems like he's going to rotate up towards the top side, but it'll be over a... Actually, I think the Watcher just expired after it got vision. So, it's going to be making this rotation while they see that he's coming. Will it matter, though? 2 seconds on the supernova.
He has the egg available.
I think
there's a lot of people that are coming over here.
He still kills them, in my opinion.
He's going to look to see if he can take down Corvus9. This is basically a 1v3. Monodrama. Ooh, okay. Egg in an awkward spot.
Could have been a lot better, I'll be honest. A lot of these early rotations, or the couple first uses of the Supernova, but still does put them in a decent spot to be able to get some damage in onto this tower. The level 6 on Young G, is that going to be the difference? Quick fingers on the Rage. Gets him away from Excess Vampire.
Still does have the dive, but look at the damage that comes in there onto Ankred. Beautiful save there from Lucas, and it's just not going to be enough. He thought it was going to be enough to be able to jump inside of the Phoenix and keep him alive for a little bit longer, but yeah, Ankred just overstepping his bounds a little bit there. It was a big rotation from Nemiga. They sent 4 heroes at him.
Got to run away, Bashka. Just go back to not the most efficient farm, but any farm will do at this stage, just to make sure that you're not completely falling behind, because Doom has Doom available, and he has got Bashka in his sights. I don't think he stepped into the range of that Observe Ward, but he'll see him now.
He does want to try and find him out. Drop that first Doom. TP's coming in here from the Shadow Shaman, though. XX Vampire wants to see if he can get this fire. He threw the hands up into the air. He's quite tanky here, but there's a lot of stuns that goes forward. Yayo's going to turn back around. They will throw the Doom out, so at least he's going to be able to walk away from this one. He won't die to the Doom, but he lives from a gank, and now Doom's on cooldown.
3 in mid lane, Young G.
Yeah, he's definitely dead with this one. That Fiery Spirits hits, and -1 to the sanity.
I mean, the thing is, even without a lot of the kills that Ankred could have been getting, they've still been doing a good job of just pressuring them away from being able to farm at all on Nemiga's side. Even the Doom, right? Like, yeah, you don't kill the Sven, but he had to back off and just not farm, and denied away, I think, a wave and a half of creeps at the same time. So that's what's led into this 3k net worth lead. It's just
monodrama.
A bunch of anti-carries, basically.
Wow. They just brain sapped him, hit him with an urn, drove by and hit him with like 2 Fiery Spirits, and they just left him, and he just died.
Yep. Phoenix
so
is pretty busted in the right hands. Potentially go for more.
So much damage.
250 gold away from being able to... Oh, hold on. That is a
They've
very
got the
deep
sleep.
dive.
Oh, no. Ankred. Not a good set of auto attacks there. He does pop the Phoenix Egg.
It's a good one. It just forces them to back off entirely and gives them an avenue to be able to escape.
Clovis 9. Now standing here trying to fight as well. They got a few more of these Fiery Spirits going forward. We don't do Mavel for another 40 seconds. They will just leave them be. All the meanwhile, Lucas is freely hitting creeps.
Yep. Again, this is one of the things that I'm talking about, right? Like, yeah, you might not be getting the most kills that you probably could have. Like, that's 3 separate mess-ups by Ankred, and I'm sure he's kicking himself because he could easily be, like, 7-1-1 at this stage. But yeah, he's pushed back a little bit further. Means that he's going to be further away from that Spirit Vessel. Doesn't, again, have the Supernova to make plays around, but they should be able to get this kill up on the top side onto Excess Vampire. Even the Siege Creep is going to stay alive because of the tower hitting into the Lifestealer, so this is just going to be another fresh morsel for him.
Yeah, Amplify damage rune, and he just ticks down so far. Chungji is able to at least get rid of Mary. And that's one of the beauties of the Phoenix. You do have that damage over time. So the foul play is not as annoying as what it used to be.
Yep. Again, should get a tier 1 tower off the back of this as well. Don't think you're really in a position on Clovis 9 to be contesting this all that much. Just wants to give a little bit of vision onto Lucas. He's not trying anything too sneaky. That is... That is the vessel already completed up, actually.
I think this last couple of kills really pushed him towards it. Gonna try and get this kill here on Clovis 9. Not so much of a kill, more of a nuisance.
No. Yep, he's just saying, you ain't farming, pretty much.
Yep.
But it's just about being able to find that right balance between, keeping yourself alive completely or, not getting any farm. You can see the net worth lead continuing to grow. But again, it's just going to even out more and more once you start getting these blink daggers and once you start making a few counter punches of your own.
And
Invest? Oh, no, it's not on cooldown.
It's on cooldown.
That would have been the kill, yeah.
Almost at Radiance now as well for Lucas.
Yep.
Couple hundred gold away. Oh, and they're stealing this ancient stack too. Well, not stealing, but creating an ancient stack and taking it. Global Silence does come out here. He's actually able to survive, yeah.
They're going to go for a counterplay. They got the Fiend's Grip available. I'm not sure if Monodrama is the one that you want to be using it onto, though.
Yeah, probably not. Looking towards Young G here in the top side. Lucas and Ancrad are here as well. They don't have any Spirit Vessel charges, so Ancrad using those out, just pumping them out willy-nilly. Don't have any left for another kill. XX Vampire takes down Emptiness in the bottom side of the map as well, so it seems like the Bane just hovered around a little bit too long.
Yeah, with the Doom not available, there really wasn't that follow-up damage anyway to be able to secure the kill, so not really the best place to be sitting at that point in time. But again, net worth lead slowly creeping up. 100 gold away from the Radiance for Lucas, so that's going to be nice and useful. Again, against a lot of this physical damage as well. Just that evasion component and the mischance. But
yeah, pre-BKB it's going to be rough for the Sven to hit people.
Yes, and you've got the Blink Dagger to contend with as well on Young G. So this is the first potential counterpunch. Maybe they're going to wait for Slardar to have his, because he's got it potentially coming out on the career right now. To me, it seems like the perfect time to go for a bit of a movement, right? You secure the Wisdom Rune for yourself, you get a little bit of that extra experience, you go for a group up smoke, you look to try and get a kill onto probably the Lifestealer, because again, Phoenix you're worried about now, Lifestealer you're worried about later, so it's just about controlling him at this stage of the game.
Making sure he doesn't continue that snowball to buy that time for the Lifestealer. So it's smoke on smoke action here.
Find the
smoke
Phoenix.
does get popped here.
Oh, the Invis-Rune though.
Gone onto the Silencer here, but Merritt's going to be able to turn it around here. That is a very bad egg from Ancred, who is in front of 4 heroes, and there was nobody that was left available for him. The Ice Blast is going to go wide as well. So Mary,
Spirited 1 only.
thanks to the help of the... Okay, doesn't get the save there as well. So the drums were able to at least get them a little bit far away. Nice little sleep there that comes in onto Cobra. They're going to try and walk forward here with the God Strength, and they catch out Emptiness as well. And Quantum, that was a blunder.
That was a big blunder.
Not fighting
blunder
on their own
after
terms.
blunder after blunder. Not fighting on their own terms. They popped the smoke perfectly. They didn't have any detection to see him, and then he just says, "You know what? I could 1v4 with only one person attack speed slowed." It's a really winning position that they were in, and giving it up thick and fast.
Yeah, it was a potential for that to be a really big gank breaker. You know, if that doesn't work out there, maybe they lose Young G, maybe they lose Covus 9. That could have been a really big fight for the side of Quantum, and they just weren't able to connect together, and now they have to sit back and wait for a little bit longer as well.
So
But
a lot of our
luckily,
focus
Lucas is still hitting creeps.
Yeah, a lot of our focus has been on Ancrad for this first little bit of the game, but I think he's going to take a bit of a backseat, maybe go for one more play, but the Boots of Travel is the item that I'm really looking for from him. Like, any time that you see a Bane, it's just about playing around that, as Cobus 9 will die.
Or the save there on Emptiness, that was actually huge there from Lucas. They're able to try and get away from the Ice Blast. Look at the amount of damage they're able to do. Emptiness turns back around. How much damage can they do onto Young G? Not enough. Especially with the help of the Shadow Shaman. So XX Vampire walks his way over there to help out his buddy, and that potentially could have been a turnaround if Lucas was able to stay a little bit longer and not get clipped by that Ice Blast.
I mean, we're in the Eastern European region. Anytime I think of Bane and what you're able to potentially do with it, I just think of Spirit, right? Like, they just play amazingly around that hero. You're able to use something like the Boots of Travel to be able to set up in a really... You just need to read the enemy team. You need to be better at reading them than they are at reading where you could potentially be. Nightmare into TP and into most people will die from a full Phoenix combination.
Especially with the Fiend's Grip on top of it as well.
Yep.
Just such a long duration. CC. I think G's Courier does lose the Cornucopia.
Mage Slayer is going for, so that would be huge at being able to stop a lot of this damage coming out from the Phoenix in particular. He's now level 12, so Supernova a little bit harder to be able to take out, but he's got to be a lot better with his usages of it. Laning, never in doubt. It's just these skirmishes haven't been ideal, and level, or almost level, with the DK is not the position that you want to be in.
Definitely want to be leading from the front if you are some of these much more unorthodox mid laners. Something like a Phoenix as well. Which can potentially drop off as the game does go on. So you really want to try and abuse it while it's strong. Right now, Lucas is doing a really, really good job here on the lifestealer, just constantly staying in the top side of this map. Imagine if you saw his heat map, it would just be literally top left corner.
Yep. Nice little movement coming through there from Emptiness as well. He ends up walking all the way just into that tiny little sliver of forest.
Oh no, they found out the Doom. They are just going to go directly on top of Yayo. They will turn around with the Doom, at least they're onto the Slider. He wants to try and get away. They don't hit the sleep. He will eventually die in the fountain though anyways. Yeah. Now they're turning back around, seeing if they can try and take down Lucas on the top side as well.
Had way too much damage over time there, but the downside is because he died inside the fountain, they don't get the Spirit Vessel charges. It was the Doom that ended up getting the kill and not the Phoenix, so it does, you know, lessen his output for the next little bit, but while he's playing with such low HP, as see you later Monodrama, he is going to be dealing a lot of damage, again, through that dying light, right? And as he continues to look to scale up on the Phoenix, it'll just get more and more severe.
Dire are scanning.
Let's try and make sure he completes that usefulness pre-BKBs. Does have the BKB piercing's done in the Supernova though, so. Boots travel up now, it's much like what you were talking about before, Mr. Danog, about the boots travel being able to set up with the Bane sleeps, especially with the sleepwalk facet.
And my eyes are on Emptiness on his Bane here. Is he going to go for like a solo smoke to try and just set himself up in a position to be able to go on him? I really wonder if it's... Does the lack of Spirit Vessel charges change their attitude towards that sort of thing? Does he now feel like he needs the Sheep's Guard to be able to have that extra little bit of oomph? Or at least information about where others could potentially be coming in to assist whoever does get jumped on?
Yeah, I definitely feel like with, you know, if you catch any of these cores kind of lacking, even the solo smoke should be fine. Got the Veil of Discord as well as all the percent-based damage that can come through. Emptiness is trying to poke his head out onto the lane, gets spotted out there by XX Vampire.
Amp damage as well coming up here from Lucas, and I'm sure that's going to be pinged out by Monodrama, which he does. They're going to have to back off. Do they want to fight into this Tormentor is my main question, because you've got the AA Blast, you've got multiple Blink Daggers to be able to play around with, but still yet to pick up your BKBs. And if I'm Nemiga, I'm just cutting my losses with this Tormentor and saying, let him have it. Our BKBs are so much more important. Once we've got them, we don't need to worry about Global. We don't need to worry about Phoenix at all. We're not really as worried about the Radiance on the Lifestealer either, so it just gets to that point where it's like, how much can you afford to give up? But I think for now it's okay. CSL, maybe. I think he dies.
Sleep? No, it didn't. Alright. Hold on, Monodrama. Snipe across the map.
In the tree line, but it is
Try and make a
daytime.
fight here towards Lucas. They will go forward with the Blink Dagger. They've got the jump forward as well, but the Global Science. Now Lucas is going to turn back around here onto Cover's 9. And they will just TP away. Actually, no. Emptiness is able to catch that one out. So now, eventually, when the sleep does wear away, it will just walk forward and try and take him down. Was that a smoke?
It was, yes.
He
Emptiness
pressed the
smoke.
button.
He sure did.
Well, happens to the best of us.
Bit of a bummer though. I mean, again, you need to be playing this more ganky style. Even like for the game, probably the Blinding Sun Mischance. Not the greatest egg once more. The level 10 talent on the Phoenix, the Blinding Sun Mischance, probably would have been better for the later stages of the game, especially once those BKBs start wearing off a little bit more. But it's clear that they were playing for early game around this Phoenix. It's just nothing really seems to have been connecting in a significant enough way. It sounds so weird to say when you've got a 6k net worth lead, but honestly, it could have been 15k easily if even like one or two of those gank attempts have paid off.
Yeah, it could have been very reminiscent of Game 1, right?
Yep.
Where they were just kind of running around the map doing whatever they wanted. Whereas now, it is much more of... Yes, it is a net worth lead for the Lifestealer, but it doesn't feel like there's a big stranglehold on the map, which is a big positive for Nemiga. They definitely have a few avenues to be able to walk through now, especially now with the BKBs up and available. Surprising that
Gonna be
Bashka went for the BKB pre Blink Dagger because they haven't really fought in time. But I mean, hitting that that timing with all 3 BKBs is definitely going to feel quite nice.
I think that's exactly what they're going for, right? Like, they just don't want to give anything up for free. We're seeing TPs come through towards this mid lane, but it's going to be a little bit too slow to be able to stop them from taking this Roshan completely. So, a big deal for them to be able to get it that quickly, and they still, I feel, should be making this move. I mean, Supernova's got 25 seconds cooldown, but I don't think you should really care at this point. Like, you've still got a lot of damage to be outputting. You're level 15, you're buffed up your Fiery Spirits. You should be getting a Spirit Vessel charge pretty soon into the fight if you can find the correct target. And it's whoever doesn't have a BKB, essentially. But that's Dragon Knight and Shadow Shaman and AA. They're keeping themselves hidden pretty well.
Well, they know exactly what's going on now. They saw that ward go up on the high ground with the sentry ward position. So Quantum, unfortunately, they will have to just say goodbye for that one.
They see Slardar.
Actually, a little tip.
Or just about to wear off, so I wonder if he's going to see that or went for the Blink Dagger and the Fiend's Grip onto him, but just wasn't able to nail it. Should still get a tier 2 though.
Yeah, I don't really see them wanting to fight without God Strength here for Bashka.
Cliff though. Alright, okay. Cliff's on 19 health on the tower.
Just click it, Lucas. Surprising that he walked out of the tower range and then walked back into it.
You never know. I mean, they've got Aegis, so he was in danger of being jumped. Now you've got a Blink Dagger on the Sven as well. And BKB on DK after this wave as well. So this is the time for Nemiga. This is what they've been waiting for the first 24.5 minutes of this game, is all of these timings to come together. Mage Slayer, triple Blink Dagger, triple BKB, Aegis. You've got everything you could possibly want to take a successful team fight. You just need to find the right hero. Is Bane that hero? Maybe not, but they'll take it just to be able to get another objective. They've still, tier 1 tower is still standing, and that's exactly what's getting pinged out right now from Bashka.
Yeah. Might not be, you know, such a large scalp to get, but it at least gives them enough space to take these tier 1 towers. They can start to spread across the map. They can push in these mid in the top lane, and they can start heading towards potentially these tier 2 towers. They are looking to see if they can try and convert this into something else. Covers 9.
No, Sven's not there.
Yayo just yet, and he's getting very, very close. Now they will. They go in with the Pro 2 page. Dragon Tail on top as well. Not really much that you can do. They're going to pop the Global Silence, turn back around here onto Covers 9. He wants to see if he can try and get this TP out. They have no way of stopping this TP. Now Blink Forward comes in from the Bane, walks forward once again. They're at the BKB. XS Vampire wants to try and just save this for his boys. Everybody walks away from the Ice Blast except for the Bane. Emptiness, though, takes a lot of damage from that, and the Brief Fire will be able to finish him off, and they walk towards Mary, where Bashka will just take him through with a few more swipes of the God Strength. So,
dude, Anchorite,
I mean, they saved the Doom.
He cancelled the TP onto the outpost. Like, he was there. He was ready to join in onto the rest of them, and by not being there, yeah, he's got his boots of travel, but you lose a team fight, you don't lose the Aegis, you shove in the mid lane, you lose a bunch of XP, Doom's expended. I don't know. I'd say pretty worth still if you're Nemiga.
Yeah, definitely a good trade for them. Just the fact that, yeah, they don't get any cores, but it really does feel like it was just, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't want to say confidence, but just means that they're able to get a little bit more of a stranglehold on the map. They take a tier, they put a lot of pressure on a tier 2 tower. They don't exactly take it just yet, but it's all about the map movements for them now.
And even now, like, when you're hitting a bunch of these big timings on the Phoenix, he even got lucky enough with getting Whisper of the Dread. It's into triple BK, so it's not really going to be that useful to be able to have all of that. Same sort of thing with level 18 Supernova, level 20 max health Sunray. Like, all this sort of stuff sounds nice in isolation, but only if you can catch people without their BKBs. And Nemiga's a good enough team that they're not just going to walk into dangerous positions with no BKB.
Exactly. So, fortunately there for Monodrama, he does just walk into a life stealer. So I guess the question is now, with only 30 seconds left on this Aegis, who feels more confident on the map potentially with this gank? Oh, Does just miss out on Ankred there. You don't see him. They do want to try and just play around a bit of this vision, see if anybody from the Dire side wants to walk into their own jungle.
Would have been nice to be able to pick that one up, but doesn't look like they'll be able to land it. Although now that the DK's here,
Oh, they found him. They're just going to keep going forward and look for stuns they have. They have the Hex, they have the chicken fingers, they have everything. And Young G takes down Ankred. I feel like even if he popped the supernova, he would have had to have gotten out the quickest fiery spirit Shivas and ulti.
yeah.
Known to man.
I really feel like if it was just Shaman and Spam, I think he might actually live. But the fact that the DK, like, the fact that he wasn't caught previously when we were seeing into the right-hand side of that tier 2 tower was actually a little bit unfortunate for Ankred. I think he could have survived through all that, but not with the DK there.
Now they're just going to walk up onto the high ground.
Look at this, even body blocking the creep wave so they're not getting hit by as many of the multi-shot hits from the tower. Nicely done.
30 seconds left here on Ankred to come back in, so they will clean up the Serpent Wards here off the back of Lucas, but look at the damage they've done here on the tier 3 tower. It's a nice little start for them. They can push their way towards this tier 2 tower off the back end of the Elder Dragon form. And that is just more eyes and more T's being dots and crossed. Oh, they found another. I mean, it's just emptiness. It's not the end of the world. It is.
He's just
annoying
shoving out waves.
Hero,
He's just shoving out waves right now. Like, he wants to use his Aghanim Shard to be able to just AoE brain sap a lot of these waves and force them back. You do now have Aghanim Scepter, though, for Lucas. So that's another way to be able to combat the all these, like, BKBs that they've got on the early team.
Oh, that's a very early rage. Let's get the early bash, but now they walk back in. They've got the Dragon Tail as well. Can they try and get their life stealer out of dodge? No, they do not.
Couldn't invest
And Lucas, he was very trigger happy on pressing that rage. That meant they were able to wait it out. And now Mary, couple of clicks from Clovis 9. And eventually they do get him. Now they're looking in towards the backline here. Oh, that's a massive Stormhammer. They found out two cores holding hands on the high ground. And the Ice Blast misses out, so Yayo will be able to at least regen, but that was a big Stormhammer that came in, found two cores, and it is all crumbling away here for Quantum.
It really feels like a big missed opportunity for them as well. They were in the driver's seat with this great last pick, and just nothing's working out for them. They used the glyph there as well, so going to be able to force them back outside of the base. Now just doing his best to try and drag the creeps away, hope that backdoor protection kicks back in, but the damage coming out is just way too much for them to stop.
Yeah. Full Enerax is gone now as well. Elder Dragon form
See you later,
is
Monodrama.
still here for a little bit.
Maybe not. Maybe yes. Maybe not. They've got 3 blink daggers, remember. You can't just walk in, Yayo.
You have to be very, very careful here. They want to see if they can take down the AA. They will just leave him. With the respawn coming in from the life stealer.
Looking in very confidently as Yayo with no Doom, no BKB. No two position 1 or 2 joining him.
So they're going to smoke out. Feeling like this is a good opportunity for them to try and catch out a few members of the Nemiga. Shield rune up on Bashka though. He will be able to break this smoke there on.
They know it.
Oh my god, there was a bait. There is not anymore. Now, big egg up on the high ground, but they just BKB and they kill the egg in time. There is no way for them to try and keep this fight going. And now Lucas gets clipped by the Ice Blast as well. The Global Silence feels like it's a little bit too little too late there from Mary. And eventually they will lose out more and more members. It's the godlike double kill for Young G. Looking for Yayo. Seeing if they can catch out this Doom and take the last straggler from Quantum, but they set their sights on the base. They will just be able to walk through this middle lane, walk towards the top side, and take another lane.
Oh, it's just, they're collapsing. There's no better term for it, right? Like, you mentioned the Global Silence being a little too late. By the time they walked up onto that high ground, it had like 5 seconds on the cooldown. So you just see the difference. Like, what if you had a Bane at the very start of these team fights? What if this, the Fiery Spirits hit a few more than one hero, which they all had BKBs anyway? I mean, it all started as well because the Observer Ward that was placed down by Monodrama clipped that smoke when it was happening as well. So they knew exactly where it was. They put the Sven on the front lines who had the shield rune. Sure, you end up killing the Sven, but it's such a big price to pay.
especially when there's all these other multi-cores as well. You know, yeah, you lose a Sven, but this feels like this draft is kind of centered around both the Sven and the Dragon Knight. Usually we're used to the Sven being the guy, but just as you said, it's just these small little disconnects from every piece of the puzzle coming in here from Quantum. And that's kind of what you need. You need that 100% execution to be able to win some of these games here. And unfortunately for them, they are behind the 8 ball. Lucas,
see the back line.
He popped the early rage here, so he's not going to have this for the fight. At least the safe will go forward. Now, Sven on the background. This is bad for them. They actually get the stop onto the Fiend's Grip, so Emptiness will lose his life as well. Yayo's just going to walk back into the base, and both their supports are in the grave now for Quantum.
EKBs are all used though, so that's Supernova. It's up in 1 second. This is the time where you want to be looking to try and re-engage, but they're going to back off. I suppose he used his own BKB as well, but they've got an Earn Charge. I would be going in right now if I'm Ankrad. This is your last opportunity, but Spidey senses were tingling and they're going to back off.
Yep. They just leave it for now. Another awkward interaction there with Lucas picking up his Aghanim Scepter. He jumped inside of the Sven, and then the Sven got Fiend's Grip. And then so Lucas jumped out of the Sven because he's like, oh, it's Fiend's Grip. I don't need to be, infesting inside of him because he's not outside of it. And then the Fiend's Grip instantly got stopped.
Yeah.
So he infested into him, infested out, and then was like, oh, I don't have my anti-Sven ability anymore. So we're going to get an Aegis going on Covus Knight.
Yeah. Maybe they just wanted to get anyone because they, again, another one of these Observer Wards clipped that smoke attempt, so they knew that just whoever could grab it. Oh,
they at least get the TP out there on the Sven. Oh, they don't even get the ice cream cone.
He could have gotten out. Like he could have got his BKB ended like with a second left after it. So a Nightmare would have done it. I don't think they have anything else. I guess an Infernal Blade from the Doom would have done it. It's getting to the point where you mentioned that being a little trigger happy on the Rage previously. Lifestealer's going for a BKB.
Yeah, I think he needs it. I honestly think he needs it. He's getting really kind of hammered by this Orchid that's coming out here from Young G. Well, it's actually a Bloodborne. Like, it just feels like there's just so many of these different stuns and stuff that he needs to try and play around with. A lot of them do pierce BKB, though, so I don't think it's really an end-all, be-all solution for him. Yep.
But you just need to be able to just stand there and man-fight. He's got all the right items so far, in my opinion. The AC to help not just himself, but the team. Aghanim Scepter, good way to respond to the BKBs, and then BKB of his own to be able to, again, just use that potential to be dealing all of that that damage to the enemy team through the Feast innate.
Yeah. I also, unfortunately, have not felt the power of the Silencer here. I really don't feel like that Quantum kind of drafted around it. In the previous game, yes, the Silencer looked very strong because he was playing around with the Storm Spirit. A hero that can really abuse those couple of seconds of being like, oh, you have to pop an item here for you to be able to try and deal with me, or I will run rampant. Whereas for the side of Quantum, like, is it supposed to be the Phoenix Egg? And then you look on the other side of it for Nemiga, they've just got heroes that don't really care. Sven, Transformation Hero, Dragon Knight, Transformation Hero, Slider, Punch Hero.
See you later, babe.
What are you supposed to do?
Maybe not.
That's cool.
I think the difference is, hold on, they might look to re-engage on this. Very ballsy as Bane. He doesn't have the Blink Dagger this time.
Neither does Cobus 9, though.
It's not just him that has the Blink, though. It's DK and Sven are around, too. I think the difference is, like, when Phoenix is going in and you're popping the Global Silence, it's just into BKBs.
Yeah. Oh, Lucas is going to go forward here. That's a beautiful Lotus Orb there. They do get the Doom out before the God Strength. So this Sven is in trouble. He will lose his life. So that's a big initiation for them. Young G in the backline, though, takes down the Silencer. So they will not have this position 5. The Ice Blast does wear up there on Yayo. So now they're able to use the work of the Laser Beam. And eventually, Ankrat's going to sit in the backline. So he wants to see if he can try and keep this fight going here for Lucas. And they will be able to take down the Dragon Knight. So a big fight victory here for the side of Quantum. And it all came off the back of a massive Lotus Orb into a big Doom, and they're able to take down these cores with no God Strength and BKB from the Sven. XX Vampire, he's pretty quick here.
Yeah, he's still got that Enfeeble tick in though, so it's disabling the Blink Dagger right now and Just a little bit too slow. He's got the blink of his own on the Bane. Just trying to see if he can find him. Blinking off into the fog of war, but won't be able to land it. But you just see the difference in being able to finally get the initiation onto the right targets. You know, Lifestealer just through existing for the majority of the time was able to deal so much damage for the entire team. And finally, again, an egg doesn't die at the very start of a team fight. So you're able to block off an area of effect. And he's even got the Dazoon Blood Ride as well, which is a perfect combination. As we look at the replay here, Doom onto the correct target. Ice Blast doesn't mean jack. You know, he was inside of the Sven at the time. And then this is the time for Phoenix to really start having that level of impact is, you know, 1, the healing comes through for the Doom. 2, he's able to disable further blinks. And then once these BKBs start to wear off, his Spirit Vessel can really start to kick into the equation. So it's not completely beyond them to be able to come back into this game. It's just going to be a lot harder than what they initially thought based on how well they came out of that laning stage.
Yeah. Big team fight for them to win off the back of Sven doing a total of 200 damage in that team fight.
So what you were saying before about like the difference between the Storm Silencer combination and the Phoenix Silencer is that Storm was always able to jump onto the area of the supports, and they didn't have a BKB. They didn't have a way to be able to withstand that. Every single time it feels like they're initiating, it's onto cores. So you need to catch at least one of these supports on the backline when you're popping the Global Silence, just so that they're actually impacted by this, because neither of them have Guardian Greaves. Neither of them have a way to be able to break out of the Global Silence, at least at this point. They're both going into a Lotus Orb to eventually have it for that, plus the Doom. But for right now, it just means that these are the people that you need to be focusing on.
They're walking towards this base here as well, and now they've got the Axe Fiend Script, but they've been able to find out the real one here. The Global Silence will go down. They take down one of the supports. That's 100 seconds without a Shadow Shaman there for XS Vampire. Corvus 9 walks back in, bashes up Lucas. You have to be careful here, though. There's no Global Silence. Ankrat is still waiting in the wings here with the Egg. BKB is still at the ready for both of these two teams. Everyone's ready and available to fight.
And Doom has Doom. Don't forget about that as well. Even Lifestealer holding on to a Magnifying Monocle. Not sure how I feel about that. Like, it acts like Blink, right? Where if you take damage, it's disabled. And I think most of the time it's going to be pretty rare that you're... Hold on. Speaking of...
Oh, he's taken a lot here. He's able to turn around with his own BKB, but he doesn't get the lifesteal back in. He's able to at least jump inside of Yayo. So he will survive the Ice Blast for now. How long is he going to stay inside of the Doom, though? And he comes out and he gets cleaved down. And that's the problem with the Doom. Yes, you are dooming out onto the Sven, but the Sven has already transformed into the God Amongst Men, and that will just be 2 cores going goodbye.
Popping out into an amp damage. Sven is certainly a ballsy move to make, and I mean, honestly, he nearly did die as well. He got down to 500 HP, but with the Satanic being popped all the way back up to full now that he is capable and outside of that Doom duration. Is that going to be enough? I mean, no Supernova, no Lifestealer, no Doom, no Tier 2 towers remaining. All they have is a Fiend's Grip, really, to be able to try and make something happen. Refresher actually just got popped by Anchoret.
Wants to see if he can try and fight. Massive Fiend's Grip out onto the Sven. They've got nothing to keep him alive, and he will go down. The Egg eventually will get dealt with as well by the 2 cores coming out here from the Nemiga. They will get a buyback out here of the Bane, but I don't think it's going to matter. It's just Young G on the high ground who is just deleting players of Quantum. And this is going to be Mega Creeps. Actually, it's going to be the end of the game. The GGs are called. Ankarad will disappear out of the server, and unfortunately for Quantum, this is them bowing out here. They do put up a good fight up against the side of Nemiga, but they will just eventually fall at the final hurdle, and it was such a good start for them. They played so well.